starts like any normal day. Sun out, sky clear, everything peaceful. Yeah, that peace is about to get violated. Inside the office, everyone's busy pretending they're important. Keyboards going crazy like they're personally holding the economy together or something. And then there's our guy, sitting there with his screen open, work tab ready, looking productive, while absolutely nothing is getting done, because his brain is still stuck on last night. Out of nowhere, a blue screen popped up in front of him. Not his phone, not his PC, just floating there like some game dev accidentally dropped a UI into real life. At first he thought he was just tired, which is fair, but then he actually looked closer and realized this wasn't random. It was a shop. Items, prices, clean layout, like a game system just decided to exist. So obviously, first thing he does, tries to buy something. Nothing happens. No coins. Man is broke across dimensions, which is honestly impressive. Then he scrolls and finds a hammer, and the description just casually says it's perfect for smashing zombie skulls. But the moment he reads it, his brain immediately shows him zombies walking toward him. No explanation, no context, just good luck. And now he's back in the office trying to act normal like he didn't just unlock nightmare mode. Before he can even process any of that, the manager shows up. Angry, of course, this man wakes up and chooses violence daily. He starts yelling about last week's work, even though it wasn't his fault. Another company messed up. But logic clearly isn't part of his build. He just needed someone to blame. And congratulations, our guy got selected. He doesn't argue because arguing with someone like that is like arguing with a wall. Except the wall yells back. The manager keeps getting louder, turning the whole thing into a live performance. And then saved, a woman steps in, offers him a drink, and just like that, the man switches personality instantly. Bro goes from final boss to friendly NPC in 1 second. Even tries to ask her out right after yelling. Confidence level, illegal. She rejects him clean. No hesitation. Man retreats. Battle lost, peace restored. Our guy thanks her. She smiles, small moment, but yeah, she just saved his sanity. Later, he goes to the rooftop, lights a cigarette, and starts thinking about quitting his job. Then he remembers bills exist. So yeah, dream cancelled. He decides at least one thing. He'll buy her coffee later. Then she shows up again. Doesn't even smoke, just came for air. Says the manager's been annoying all day and a client disappeared. Then suddenly, she says it feels cold. Now he looks at her like, are we in the same season? It's summer. The sun is literally doing overtime, but she shows her arms, goosebumps. Okay, now that's weird. He tries to brush it off, but she pulls out her phone and shows him snow in Africa. Now the universe is trolling. Before they can even react, both their phones go off. Emergency alert, cold wave warning, another alert saying temperature is dropping fast. Still sounds fake, until a snowflake lands on his hand. He looks down, then up, and yeah, it's actually snowing. In summer. Perfect. By nightfall, the once sunny city is completely buried under snow. Like the weather skipped every step and went straight to disaster mode. Back in the office, he's holding something warm and trying to process it, but at this point, even thinking feels optional. The temperature keeps dropping, so he makes the only logical decision left, leave immediately. He packs his things and heads to the elevator, sees it stuck on the 6th floor, presses the button, nothing happens, presses it again, still nothing. Elevator clearly clocked out early today. Then a blast of icy wind hits him, forcing him to hug himself as the cold cuts through instantly, and that's enough stairs it is. He starts heading down, still annoyed, still trying to make sense of how summer turned into this, when suddenly, he hears the elevator behind him, the doors. He turns and sees them open, which makes no sense because a second ago it refused to work. But before he can even question it, the doors start opening and closing on their own. No one there, no sound, just that repeated movement in complete silence. And yeah, that's not something you stand around to analyze. Then the lights go out completely. No warning, no flicker, just instant darkness, and now the situation officially stops being weird and starts being dangerous. He decides to forget everything and just leave, because survival finally makes sense. But then he hears it, a scraping sound coming from inside the office. That alone is enough to pull him back in, which already says a lot about his decision-making right now. He carefully steps into the dark office, and immediately something feels off. Not just quiet, empty. Earlier this place was full of people. Now it feels like everyone just disappeared mid-task. He reaches his desk and finds everything messy, like people left in a hurry without explaining anything. He calls out, but there's no response, and that silence settles in fast. Still trying to leave, he grabs his backpack, but then a shadow appears behind him on the wall. Human-shaped, but not moving right. He turns around quickly, nothing there. That's worse. Now he knows something is inside. His attention shifts to the meeting room, because that's the only place left that makes sense, and as he moves closer, he steps on something. He looks down, an ID badge. Dirty. He picks it up and sees it's covered in blood, and that's when the situation stops being confusing and becomes very real. He steps back too fast. His eyes stay locked on the meeting room door as he slowly approaches again, because somehow he still needs confirmation. He reaches it and carefully peeks through the blinds, and that's when he sees it. Red eyes glowing in the dark, something crouched on the floor, feeding. When it lifts its head, its mouth is covered in blood, teeth sharp enough to make everything very clear, and then it clicks. That's his coworker. The moment their eyes meet, he runs. No hesitation, no thinking, just pure survival instinct finally doing its job. He looks around desperately, grabs a chair and swings with everything he has. The hit lands, sending the creature flying back, and he doesn't wait. He gets up and runs immediately, because that thing is already getting back up, and now it's worse because it's faster. He spots a nearby door, runs to it, slams it shut and throws his entire weight against it to keep it closed. While on the other side, the zombie starts pounding violently, trying to break through like it's just a matter of time. The sound alone is enough to freeze him in place, and for a moment he's just stuck there, holding on and hoping the door is stronger than his luck. Then suddenly it stops. Just like that, the silence hits harder than the noise. The zombie slowly walking away down the dark hallway like it just lost interest, which honestly feels more suspicious than comforting. Even then, he doesn't move. His hands stay pressed against the door, still shaking, like letting go might trigger round 2. After a few seconds, he finally gives in and slides down the wall, sitting on the floor while trying to breathe properly again. Still in shock, he mutters it out loud, "Yeah, that was definitely a zombie." No confusion left anymore. Then his phone vibrates, showing an emergency alert about a virus spreading through the city, mentioning rabies. He stares at it, runs a hand through his hair, already done with that explanation, because what he saw wasn't rabies, it didn't even try to act normal. Still sitting there, he picks up his phone and starts searching, scrolling through forums filled with reports of attacks, chaos, people talking like the world is ending. The more he reads, the worse it sounds, and he starts connecting things: yesterday's status window, today's situation. So he tries to search for that system, but finds nothing, no trace, like it never existed, which is very helpful at the worst possible time. Then suddenly, his phone screen glitches, the image distorts, breaks apart, and he just stares at it, confused until a message appears: connection lost. Just like that, he's cut off. No signal, no updates, no idea what's happening outside. He puts his hands on his face and finally accepts it. This situation is bad. Then the cold hits again. His body starts shaking, teeth chattering, and now he has a new problem. Sitting there on the stairs, he realizes something simple. He might freeze before anything else gets him. That's not even a dramatic thought anymore, just a realistic one. He forces himself up and checks his phone. 83% battery. At least something is working. He estimates around 2 days, which means that's his window. So he makes one decision: survive until rescue shows up. That's the plan. He turns on his phone flashlight and starts moving, heading up the stairs instead of down, because going lower clearly isn't working out. He reaches the 7th floor, the construction team's area, and steps inside. It's empty, which works in his favor. He starts searching through drawers, looking for anything useful, and eventually finds a clean folded shirt. He changes into it, and yeah, that helps. Slightly warmer, slightly less miserable. Then he keeps searching, opening cabinets, checking everything, until he finds a backpack full of supplies. Inside, food, water, and even a blanket. That's exactly what he needed. He puts it on and keeps moving. Next problem: weapon. He checks a nearby room and finds a set of golf clubs. Of course, his boss's hobby finally becomes useful. He takes them, hangs both the bag and the clubs near the staircase, and decides to stay there for the night. Wrapped in the blanket, he starts thinking food might last 3 days, maybe more if he stretches it. He looks outside through the window, and yeah, it's worse than expected. The streets are chaos, cars exploding, zombies everywhere, and the blizzard is so strong that a rescue helicopter isn't getting through that anytime soon. He sits there, thinking about it. What if rescue takes a week? That thought doesn't help. The cold keeps getting worse, and he pulls the blanket tighter, trying to hold on to whatever warmth he can. Then suddenly, the blue screen appears again right in front of him. The same one, the shop. He remembers seeing winter clothes there, and now they actually matter. He scrolls through the items, checking everything. But there's one problem: coins. He has none. Of course, he stares at the screen, trying to figure out how this system works, how to get coins, what triggers it. Nothing explains anything. No instructions, no hints, just a system expecting results. He lowers his head, thinking, while outside the snow keeps falling like it's committed to the situation. The cold keeps creeping in, getting worse by the minute. Then footsteps. He looks up immediately. The sound is coming from the emergency exit door. His body tenses, grip tightening around the golf club as the noise gets louder. Something is there. Something is trying to open the door, and now he's ready to find out what. He immediately throws off the blanket and gets into position, already assuming whatever is behind that door isn't friendly. The doorknob starts turning slowly, and that alone is enough to confirm something is about to walk in. He grips the golf club with both hands and raises it over his head, fully committed. The door opens, and he swings without hesitation. Full force, no warning. At the last second, a person rushes in and barely dodges the hit, which could have ended the conversation before it even started. The man throws his arms up and yells for him to stop, and that's when it clicks. Human. He pauses, recognizes him as a coworker, and slowly lowers the club, then immediately remembers who it is. Sales team. Yeah, that explains a lot. The guy starts explaining, saying he was hiding in the break room when he heard knocking and decided to lock the door from the inside to protect himself. Sounding very proud about it. Our protagonist casually says he just opened the door and ran, which instantly ruins that whole genius plan image. The guy doesn't even argue, just grabs his attention and points at his hand, then asks for food because he's starving. That part lands differently. Our protagonist refuses immediately. Emergency supplies aren't for sharing, but offers water instead. The man accepts it, thanks him, but keeps staring in a way that's just slightly off. Then suddenly he grabs his wrist and tightens his grip on the bottle, asking again if there's really nothing else to eat. That's when it becomes obvious. Something isn't right. As he pours the water, he watches him closely and notices the sweating. In this cold, that's all the confirmation he needs. And then it happens. The man transforms without warning and lunges forward, grabbing him and throwing him to the ground instantly. No build-up, straight to attack. He reacts fast, smashing the metal bottle into the creature's face and breaking free just enough to move. That's the only opening he gets. He grabs the golf club again and swings with everything he has, landing a solid hit that drops the creature to the ground. But it's still moving, still twisting, still not done. So he doesn't hesitate this time. He raises the club again and keeps striking again and again and again until the movement stops completely. No chances, no second guesses. When it finally goes still, he stops, breathing hard, staring down at what used to be his coworker. The status window appears in front of him. 1 coin earned. That's it. He opens the shop, checks again, and now it makes sense. Kill zombies, get coins. Simple system, terrible payout. He looks back at the body, clearly not impressed with the exchange rate. Then he steps closer and examines it carefully, noticing the bite mark on the arm, which explains everything. That's how it started. He kneels down for a moment, lets out a breath, and then gets up and walks back to the office, sits down, lights a cigarette, and just processes it. One conclusion comes out of that: no one can be trusted anymore. He finds another pack of cigarettes and adds it to his bag because apparently that's part of survival now, but then he hears screams from outside. He immediately gets up and looks through the window, and what he sees isn't even surprising anymore. A man is out there fighting with a bat, holding off a group of zombies, actually doing well for a moment, until he gets surrounded. Too many of them, no space, no escape. Within seconds he's dragged down and overwhelmed, and that's it. Fight over. The creature that got him turns around, and its face is already gone, completely disfigured. He steps back from the window, because that's enough of that. Goes back inside, sits down again, and just accepts it. The situation is bad, and it's not getting better. Outside, the snow keeps falling like nothing's wrong. He looks at it for a moment, then lies down on a table, trying to rest in a place that doesn't feel safe anymore, preparing himself for another night in a world that clearly isn't slowing down. By the third day, his phone battery drops to just 3%, and now that's a real problem. With barely any snacks left, he's been doing the only thing he can, saving energy and watching the outside like it's going to give him good news. It doesn't. Every person he sees trying to escape ends the same way: caught, overwhelmed, and turned. At that point, the pattern is obvious, and staying here starts looking less like safety and more like waiting his turn. So he makes a decision: move. He packs his gear, grabs what he has, and sets out, because sitting still clearly isn't working. The plan is simple: find other survivors, team up, and figure out a way out of this mess. First stop, the 6th floor, just to confirm if the entrance is really blocked like they said. He walks down the hallway carefully, but then something catches his eye: a light. He stops instantly, and for the first time in a while, there's actual hope. That light means one thing: someone is still alive. He moves faster, heading toward it, but when he reaches the window and looks outside, that hope takes a hit. Nothing changed. Same snow, same dead city, same silence. Still dark, still bad, but then it clicks. The lights inside are on. That doesn't happen on its own. Someone turned on the emergency generator, which means he's not alone in this building. That realization flips everything. Now it's a race against time, because if that generator dies, everything goes back to darkness. He needs to find that person before that happens. He assumes the survivor is on the lower floors and starts heading down the stairs, but this time he's careful. Noise matters now, so he takes off his shoes and ties them around his neck, choosing silence over comfort. Smart move, because attracting attention here is how you end your story early. He reaches the 6th floor and approaches the door, checking through the gap before committing. The entrance is blocked with heavy equipment, exactly like expected, which means the outside zombies haven't fully broken in yet. That's good news. Also means more people could still be alive inside. He notices the emergency exit sign pointing toward the lower floors and follows it, heading toward the lobby. He slows down near the door, already expecting the worst. Takes a breath, turns the knob carefully, and opens just enough to see inside, and yeah, it's bad. The entire lobby is filled with zombies. Not a few, not manageable. A full horde just moving around like they own the place. That exit, not an option. He closes the door immediately, realizing that getting out through there isn't happening anytime soon. He hears banging from the glass entrance, the ones outside still trying to break in, and if that door gives up, the situation gets even worse. No time to waste. He turns and moves fast down the hallway, heading for the only thing that matters now: the other survivor. He reaches the management office, finds the door open, and steps inside cautiously. And then he sees him, the security guard, frozen. He recognizes him instantly and remembers how the man used to remove his clothes during severe hypothermia, which explains everything without needing more details. He steps closer, closes the guard's eyes, and gives a quiet farewell. No words needed beyond that. Then he gets up, grips the golf club again, and leaves. Back in the hallway, he continues searching, because now there's only one place left, the security room. That's where the survivor has to be. He approaches the door carefully, already thinking there could be traps set up inside. At this point, trusting anything blindly would be a mistake. He knows he needs to show he's human, not another threat. Outside, a zombie moves strangely in the hallway, making those unsettling sounds, and then another one joins in, screaming loud enough to pull attention from others nearby. That's already a bad setup. Knowing they react to sound, he still knocks on the door to get the person inside to notice him. Risky but necessary. He holds his breath and slowly starts opening the door, staying alert, ready for anything, and he's right to be. The moment it opens, an attack comes straight at him. An improvised spear, fast and direct. He reacts just in time, blocking it with the golf club, stopping what could have ended him right there. The sound of the weapon makes it clear. This isn't random. Someone inside is defending themselves properly. And just like that, both sides realize the same thing at once. This isn't a zombie. The other survivor freezes for a second, clearly just realizing he almost speared a human instead of a monster. And that awkward realization doesn't last long, because somewhere in the distance, a zombie reacts to the noise and starts heading toward the security room. That's enough pressure to kill any hesitation. The man backs up, ready to attack again if needed, but our protagonist moves first, stepping in fast, disarming him cleanly and pinning him to the floor before things can escalate again. No wasted movement, no second attempt needed. Then he pushes him fully inside, shuts the door immediately, and locks it, because whatever heard that noise is definitely on its way. Now inside, for the moment at least, they're safe. The two stand there facing each other, both cautious, both clearly not trusting anything yet. The man asks the obvious question. Human? He confirms it, short and direct, and they keep staring like that alone isn't enough proof. He explains he came because of the generator, and that connects instantly. The other guy gets it. To make things clear, he shows his ID badge and introduces himself as the assistant manager from the sales team. The other man introduces himself too, but that doesn't settle the real concern: infection. So he watches him carefully, checking for signs. No sweating, reacting to the cold normally, no strange behavior. That's a good sign, but not enough to relax completely. They keep watching each other, both thinking, both calculating, and then the other guy's attention shifts to the backpack. That look lingers a bit too long. Curious, focused, still holding his weapon, still ready. Our protagonist notices it, but also notices something more important. No hunger, no unstable behavior. That lines up, not infected. He tries to step closer, but the man backs away immediately, still tense, still not convinced. Fair reaction, honestly. So he changes approach, slowly drops the golf club to the floor and reaches into his bag, pulling out a pack of cigarettes. The other man watches every movement carefully, not lowering his guard for a second. He raises his hand slightly, making it clear he's not trying anything, then offers a cigarette. Simple move but effective. The man looks at it, then at him, still unsure, but after a moment he takes it. Not relaxed, but less ready to attack. That's progress. He lights it, and for a moment, both of them just breathe. The tension drops slightly, not gone, but manageable. The man eventually says it. He feels alive again. And yeah, that tracks. Our protagonist agrees. Small nod, no extra words needed. Then his stomach growls, loud enough to ruin the moment, and he gets embarrassed, explaining he only had half a chocolate bar. That explains the energy level. Our protagonist doesn't say much, just watches as the man opens his backpack and pulls out instant noodles, breaking them in half and offering one piece. He tells him to chew it properly so he doesn't get sick, which is about as practical as it gets right now. They eat quietly, no rush, no wasted movement, just focusing on getting something into their system. Then the conversation continues. He asks if the second floor is clear. The man confirms it, and casually mentions he doesn't need to worry about storing food in the fridge anymore, which says a lot about how fast priorities changed. With food still in his mouth, our protagonist keeps talking, and now that both of them are calmer, they sit down and start properly exchanging information. He asks about the situation on the second floor, and the answer isn't good. The man explains he was trapped in the break room with another colleague, and they shared what little food they had. But the colleague didn't want to wait, decided to leave instead. He thought waiting for rescue made more sense. Didn't matter. The moment that door opened, the colleague got infected immediately. No delay, no second chance. Our protagonist comments that there seemed to be a lot of zombies around, and the man confirms it. He saw 4, not a small number. He only made a move because his phone battery was dying, and staying there wasn't an option anymore. So he distracted them and crawled out to escape, which is risky enough to work once and never again. The man explains how he distracted the zombies and crawled his way out, which honestly sounds like a terrible plan that somehow worked, and our protagonist gives him credit for it because getting past 4 zombies without turning into one is not beginner level luck. The guy appreciates it, then asks if he was the one who turned on the generator, and he confirms it, Seeing the power strip nearby, it becomes obvious he needed electricity for something. Then the man with glasses asks if the phone is still useful, and that question lands weird, because from his side, there's been no signal this whole time. The other guy looks surprised and asks if he really survived all this time without using the internet, which sounds almost disrespectful at this point, but then he drops the actual information: satellite internet still works. That changes everything. Our protagonist pauses, remembers Spacelink, and confirms he knows about it, and suddenly the situation isn't completely cut off anymore. The man explains that some servers are still running, some communities still active, meaning the world hasn't fully gone silent, it's just barely holding on. He offers to charge the phone and gestures for him to sit, and once it's plugged in, the connection comes back. Posts start loading, survivors talking, information flowing again, and just like that, the world feels slightly less dead. He scrolls through, confirming it's real, then looks back and thanks him. Simple and direct, because at this point, that help actually matters. For a moment, both of them just sit there in silence, watching their surroundings, staying alert, because even a small break here feels temporary. Then the lights flicker. Both of them look up immediately. No explanation needed. The man with glasses says it. The generator is about to run out. Time's up. Then he asks what the plan is, straight to the point, and our protagonist says he's staying. That answer says more than enough. The other guy doesn't argue, but the meaning is clear. He doesn't want extra weight. More people means less food, more risk, less control. Our protagonist understands it instantly. No offense, just reality. They're not good partners right now. So they make the decision, split up. Each one survives on their own terms. He agrees, because staying would only slow the other guy down. Before he leaves, the man with glasses takes something out of his bag, a flashlight and a portable charger, and offers them without making it a big moment. Just practical help. Our protagonist takes them because refusing that would just be stupid, and in return, he offers a lighter. Fair trade. The man accepts it, nods slightly, and that's enough. No dramatic goodbye, no speeches, just a small wave, a quiet good luck, and they separate, both hoping they'll see each other again, alive. He doesn't wait around, leaves before the power dies completely, because once the lights are gone, everything gets worse. He passes by the lobby door again, and sees the zombies still trying to get inside, still persistent, still a problem. Nothing changed there. He tightens his grip on the golf club and keeps moving. Now it's solo again. He heads down the stairs toward the basement, thinking about the company cars. The parking lot is full, which means escape is possible, at least in theory. But then he pauses, because leaving now without a plan is just another way to die faster. So he decides to go back up and gather more information first. Better to move smart than move fast. He climbs the stairs again, focused, careful, but right on cue, the lights go out. Complete darkness. No warning, just gone. He immediately pulls out the flashlight he just got, which suddenly becomes the best trade he's made so far, and turns it on. Now every step matters. He moves slowly, carefully, because in this silence, even a small mistake gets noticed. He passes the 4th floor, then the 5th, staying alert the entire time until he hears it, a sound from above. He stops instantly, listens. Something is there, and at this point, the odds of it being friendly are basically zero. He grips the golf club tighter and starts moving up, ready for whatever is waiting. Then he makes a quick decision, drops his bag and flashlight on the floor so he can move freely if it turns into a fight. Lighter, faster, better chance. As he steps up, a zombie appears at the top of the stairs and starts coming down slowly. He pauses again, but this time there's a small advantage. The creature has its back turned. That's rare. So he moves quietly, carefully climbing the steps, trying to slip past without being noticed, because if this works, he avoids a fight entirely. However, just as he's about to slip past cleanly, the zombie suddenly turns and attacks without warning, fast enough to completely ruin that plan. The blow comes in quick, but he manages to block it with the golf club just in time, which honestly saves him from getting folded right there. Now there's no avoiding it, it's a fight. The creature lunges again, aggressive and relentless, but this time he's ready. He swings back, connects properly, and sends it flying. No hesitation, he follows up immediately, striking the monster's head with full force, the impact throwing it straight into the wall with a heavy sound that echoes through the stairwell. The zombie screams, but that doesn't slow him down. He steps in again and delivers another solid strike, finishing it properly this time. The creature drops, and for a moment, everything goes still. He stands there breathing hard, watching the body, waiting because at this point, down doesn't mean done. And right on cue, it starts moving again. Of course it does. No surprise anymore. He tightens his grip and lands one more clean hit to the head, ending it for real this time. The status window appears. 1 coin earned. Same system, same reward. Then the blue screen shatters, and he realizes something else. The head of the golf club is broken. That fight cost him his main weapon. Great timing. He picks up the broken piece anyway, because now even scraps count as equipment. With the flashlight back in hand, he looks toward the rooftop door. Closed. So it didn't come from there, which means there's another path somewhere, and that immediately makes the 7th floor a lot less safe than it was 5 minutes ago. He heads back to the office and checks the area again, making sure nothing else slipped in. Clear for now. He takes a breath, drinks some water, and finally lets his body slow down after that fight. Then he thinks about it. The speed of that zombie. That wasn't normal. Faster than a human. More like something running on instinct instead of logic. If there had been two of them, that fight wouldn't have gone his way. That thought settles in quickly. He needs allies. Soon. He takes out his phone and checks the internet again, scrolling through survivor posts from all over the country. Everyone's dealing with the same problems. Temperature dropping, water becoming harder to find, everything getting worse. But when it comes to the zombies, there's nothing new. No confirmed weakness. No real strategy. Just guesses and panic. So he sticks to what he knows. They react to sound. Their sight and smell are weak, and the only reliable way to stop them is destroying the head. And if they bite you, that's it. No recovery. No second chances. He keeps scrolling, but it's the same everywhere. People asking for rescue, waiting for help that isn't coming. That's when it hits him properly. No response, no control, no system holding things together. The government is gone. Completely. And with that realization, the situation becomes very simple. No one is coming. It's just him now. Right on time, his body reminds him he's still human. He sneezes, then feels the cold hit harder. His body starting to weaken. Day 5, and now he's getting sick. Perfect timing again. He knows exactly what that means. Getting sick here isn't just bad, it's game over. So he forces himself to move, doing whatever he can to generate heat, pushing through it because stopping isn't an option. Then his stomach kicks in. Hunger again. He pulls out a chocolate bar and eats the whole thing without hesitation. No saving it. Calories matter more than planning right now. Once that's done, he prepares to move again, because food doesn't last forever. He decides to leave his shoes behind this time. Less noise, less chance of attracting attention. Smart trade. He remembers the development team's break room still has food, but there's a problem. The zombie colleague is still there and not alone. He moves carefully and observes the office from a hidden position. The place is dark, filled with movement. The zombie's still wandering around, still carrying the backpack like it's part of the job now. He watches them carefully, studying their movement, planning it out. There's no rushing this. One mistake and it's over. The only option is to take them out one by one and recover the backpack. He identifies the first target near the door and starts moving slowly, preparing for a surprise attack. While observing, he counts them, and something feels off. One is missing. There should be another one somewhere. That unknown position makes everything worse. Still, he moves. He checks through the door window with the flashlight. The break room is empty. That works. He enters carefully, ready for anything, scanning the dark room with the light until he confirms the supplies are still there. That part goes right, but then footsteps. He stops instantly, moves into hiding. No mistakes now. Something is coming. With a determined look, he commits to the plan and sets the bait, picking up a cup and tossing it so it hits the floor with just enough noise to pull attention without turning the whole place into a concert. It works. One zombie reacts and starts moving toward the sound like it just got assigned a task. He stays hidden, waits, and times it perfectly. The moment the creature steps into the room, he moves fast, direct, no hesitation, and lands a precise strike to the head, dropping it before it even understands what happened. Clean execution. One down without drama. He allows himself a small reaction because yeah, that part went exactly as planned. Then the next problem shows up. More noise, more movement. The other zombies heard it and now they're at the door, hitting it hard, trying to force their way in like patience isn't part of their skill set. He checks the mirror and sees their reflections, which is honestly the only safe way to look at them right now, and reacts quickly, locks the door that holds them outside. For now, the plan actually works, which is rare enough to feel suspicious, but he takes it. With the zombies stuck on the other side, he moves in and grabs the backpack. Supplies secured. Flashlight goes into his mouth, hands free. Everything efficient until the situation reminds him it's not done yet. Suddenly something grabs his leg and yanks him down hard. Missed one. Of course, the hidden zombie pulls him to the ground and locks him in place, and now it's right there, going straight for the bite. He reacts just in time, shoving the flashlight into its mouth and stopping it mid-attack. That's not a clean solution, but it works. The creature is stuck trying to bite through plastic instead of him, which buys him a few seconds. Not a lot, but enough. He uses that moment, throws the flashlight upward, frees his hand, and lands a solid punch to the zombie's face, knocking it back just enough to create space. He gets up immediately. No pause, grabs the golf club, and finishes it with a clean strike. That's done. No follow-up needed. He looks around, still more to deal with, so he keeps moving, keeps fighting, because stopping here isn't an option. After the exchange, he finally pauses for a second, breathing hard, running a hand through his hair, but the mirror reminds him this isn't over. Bloody handprints on the other side of the door. 2 more zombies waiting. That's the next problem. He picks up the flashlight again, this time already knowing it's going to be another round, and prepares properly. No mistakes. He opens up just enough to lure them in. Both enter. Now it's 2 at once, which is exactly the kind of situation that goes wrong fast. So he splits them, throws the broken piece of the golf club, and one of them immediately turns toward it, distracted like it just found something interesting. That creates space. The second one attacks, but he dodges, keeps his distance, and uses the flashlight directly to the face, blinding it for a moment. That's all he needs. He shifts focus to the one with the backpack, the real target. The creature recovers and lunges again, but he dodges, grabs the broken club piece from the floor, and strikes with precision. Clean hit. That one drops. Backpack secured properly this time. One left. The last zombie comes at him, but now it's just a one-on-one again, and he handles it the same way. Defends, counters, and finishes it with the broken club. The status window appears. 4 coins earned. Better reward, same risk. With the fight finally over, he grabs the backpack from his former colleague and feels the weight fully loaded, which is exactly what he needed. But now there's another issue. No proper weapon left. The golf club didn't survive the process. So he switches focus again and starts searching the office, going through desks and drawers, picking up anything useful. In one of them, he finds a portable charger and nutritional supplements, which is a solid upgrade, so he takes everything and adds it to his bag. Then he checks another section, the Development Team 2 area, and finds more supplies, including another charger and additional supplements. Not bad. Everything stacks. With the backpack now full and the flashlight back in hand, it finally prepares to move again. No celebration this time, just progress. He walks through the office with a new objective, move forward and explore the rest of the building. But then that thought hits him again. The last zombie, the one that could still be somewhere around, and suddenly the confidence drops a level. Without a proper weapon, even one mistake is enough, so he doesn't take chances and decides to leave the office immediately. He moves fast through the dark hallway and steps on something, leaving a bloody mark behind. But he doesn't stop to check, because right now distance matters more than details. With the backpack held tight, he finally slows down once he reaches a safer spot and lets out a breath, and the irony hits him. This office feels safe now. Compared to outside, this place is basically premium real estate. Tired from everything, he sits down and hugs the backpack for a moment, letting his body reset after all that stress, then opens it to check what he actually managed to secure. Inside, chips, chocolate pies, cookies, instant noodles. That's not just supplies, that's survival with options. He smiles without even trying, because this changes things. With this amount of food, he knows he can last much longer, maybe even a month, if water doesn't become the next problem. But once the adrenaline fades, reality comes back. The cold. It hits harder now, and his body starts shivering again. His feet are still wet, making everything worse, so he decides to wash them, thinking it might help. The moment the icy water touches him, he regrets that decision instantly, but he goes through with it anyway. Then he notices something, a wound on his foot. That stops everything again. His mind jumps straight back to the fight, thinking about the possibility of a scratch. He knows he wasn't bitten, but right now that doesn't feel like enough reassurance. He grabs his phone and searches, looking for anything that confirms how this works. After going through posts, he finds one from another survivor who was scratched and didn't turn. That's the answer he needed. Only bites cause infection. That settles it. He exhales, tension finally dropping properly this time, because that could have ended everything right there. With that weight off his mind, he puts the phone away and stands up again, but the cold problem is still there, and now it's the main issue again. He tears the blanket, checks his feet, still freezing, and realizes he needs something better. So he opens the status window and goes back to the shop, focusing on winter gear this time. Clothes, boots, gloves, hats, everything he needs is there. But every single item costs 3 coins, sold separately, same price across the board. No bundles, no discounts, just a system that clearly doesn't care. He doesn't have many options, so he buys the boots first. The moment he confirms the purchase, they appear right in front of him. Just like that, no delay, no explanation. He puts them on and immediately notices they fit perfectly, like they were made for him, which just confirms the system is doing its own thing behind the scenes. It helps, but not enough. The cold is still there, so he checks again, scrolling through what's left, trying to find something else that might actually fix the problem. Most of it doesn't help until he finds something different. Not obvious, not impressive, but worth trying. He buys it, spends another coin, and gets a pair of sweatpants. Not exactly what he expected, but still usable. He takes a heat patch from it and applies it, and the effect is immediate. Finally, some warmth. His body responds instantly, the shaking reduces, and for the first time in a while, he feels stable. Not comfortable, but no longer on the edge. He complains about the price, because yeah, everything here costs like it's premium content, but at this point, staying alive isn't cheap. With the warmth returning, he finally settles near the window, looking outside at the endless snowfall, knowing nothing out there has improved. Then he just sits there, preparing himself for whatever comes next, because at this point, surviving one day just means getting ready to survive the next. On the 7th day, he goes to the sink and realizes the water is gone, completely cut off. No warning, no backup, just empty. That's when the situation upgrades from bad to worse. He doesn't waste time thinking about it and immediately fills whatever bottles he can with the little water still left in the tap. When he's done, it adds up to about 2 liters. That's it, a few days at best, no extra chances. He lies down on the floor, staring up, realizing the timing couldn't be worse. Things finally stabilize a little, and now the water disappears like it waited for the perfect moment. He picks up his phone and checks, and it's not just him. Other survivors are reporting the same thing. Water gone everywhere. Then he sees a post. Someone says they're going out to look for a nearby supermarket. People reply, asking if he actually went. The man confirms he's on his way and will update if he makes it. That's the last message. Our protagonist scrolls through and notices something else. The number of new posts is dropping. Fewer updates, fewer people talking. That trend doesn't need explanation. With a quiet expression, he understands what that probably means. He looks out the window again. The city is still covered in snow, still silent, barely any movement, barely any signs of life. It feels emptier than before. Still, he holds on to one thought. There have to be other survivors out there. On the 8th day, he checks the same post again. No reply, nothing new. That answer is clear enough. Sitting and waiting isn't going to work anymore. He looks out at the frozen city and accepts it. If he stays here, this is where it ends. So he gets up. No more waiting. If he wants to survive, he has to move. He prepares himself, knowing the situation clearly. Food is limited, water is worse, and going outside alone is dangerous. But staying inside isn't safe either. So the next step is obvious. Find someone, an ally, because doing this alone won't last. The problem is getting there. He needs a weapon. Right now, all he has is a golf club, and that thing already proved it doesn't last long. It breaks, and when it breaks, so does your plan. He checks the shop again. There's a hammer listed, specifically for dealing with zombies, but it costs 5 coins. That's expensive. With that same amount, he could get winter gear and stay warm longer. So now it's a choice, offensive or survival. Instead of deciding immediately, he goes with the safer option, search first. Maybe there's something useful left in the building. He heads to the 4th floor and enters an office, already prepared for anything inside. But what he finds is nothing, empty, no movement, no sound, just silence. That alone feels off. He scans the area with his flashlight and confirms it. No one's there. Then he notices the details. Blood stains on desks, on keyboards. Not small ones either. Something definitely happened here. And then the smell hits. Not strong, but enough. That familiar smell. Zombies. Now it gets strange. There are signs of a fight, signs of infection, but no bodies, nothing left behind. That doesn't add up. He tries opening a door nearby, but it's locked from the inside. That immediately raises another question. Someone could be in there. He listens. Nothing. No sound, no movement, which somehow makes it worse. At this point, there's only one way to find out. He steps back, grips the golf club, and swings at the doorknob. The lock breaks under the hit. He announces he's coming in, because if someone's inside, they need to know. Then he kicks the door open and steps in, ready for whatever's waiting. The room is dark. He moves in carefully, and then he sees it. Bodies. A pile of them. Zombies. At least 10. All taken down and stacked in one corner. He stops and counts again, just to be sure. Yeah, that's not normal. Someone cleared this entire area. Someone handled that many zombies alone. That's not luck. That's skill. Which means there's someone in this building who's not just surviving but controlling the situation. He looks around again, but the place has already been searched. Nothing useful left behind. Whoever did this took everything worth taking. Clean work, efficient. He's late. Then he notices something else. A mug, with a note left behind. He picks it up and reads. The message is simple. The survivor cleared the floor and moved the bodies here. He even mentions leaving a shirt. Then there's a warning. Avoid the 5th floor. No explanation. Just that. And finally, the direction. He's heading to the west coast. That's it. He lowers the note slowly. Missed him by 1 day. The survivor finally identifies himself, someone from the accounting team, and more importantly, former special forces. That part explains everything he just saw on this floor. On the back of the note, there's a small PS mentioning a gift left in the drawer. He opens it immediately and finds 2 packets of coffee. He pauses, looks at them, and yeah, not exactly life-saving equipment, but still, it's something. He gives a small reaction and takes it anyway, because at this point, even small things count. On the 10th day, he sits there eating a chocolate bar while reading the note again, especially the part about avoiding the 5th floor. That warning sticks with him. Naturally, that also makes him curious about what's actually there. So he heads toward the stairs and starts moving up, deciding he needs to at least check. He approaches the door carefully, already expecting trouble because nothing in this building has been normal so far. The tension builds as he gets closer, preparing himself for whatever might be waiting on the other side. Then the thought hits him. The 5th floor is the president's office. That makes it even stranger. Why would that place be dangerous? He looks at the note again, then decides not to push it. For now, he trusts the warning and backs off. No reason to walk straight into something just because curiosity showed up. He hasn't seen any signs of life since the previous day, and that feeling of being alone keeps getting stronger. Time isn't helping either. The longer he waits, the lower the chances of finding anyone alive. Missing that last survivor by 1 day already proved that. He decides to search other floors for survivors. He looks around, thinking about how many floors he might have to check, and right then, a flash of light from a building across the street. He notices it immediately. That's not random. That's a signal. He moves to the window and looks carefully, and there it is, someone in the other building signaling directly at him. That changes everything. For the first time in a while, there's clear confirmation someone else is alive. He focuses on the person, but the distance makes it hard to understand what they're trying to say. He tries to respond, tries to figure it out, but it's not working. So he pulls out his phone and uses the camera zoom to get a clearer view. That works. He reads the message. There are people on the 6th and 7th floors, and they're telling him to come over. That's all he needs. He reacts immediately, finally seeing a real opportunity. More survivors, actual numbers, not just one person moving alone. He gets ready, picks up his golf club again, and prepares to move. Before heading out, he decides to check one more place, the president's office. He steps inside, expecting the worst, but what he finds instead is completely different. No zombies, no damage, just a private gym. The president really had a full setup here. That's unexpected, but not useful. He looks around and notices the entrance isn't blocked, which means someone might have already passed through here. That lines up with what he saw earlier. He moves carefully and identifies himself as someone from the 7th floor, just in case anyone is nearby. Then suddenly, he trips over something and falls, knocking objects off a table. The noise echoes immediately, and that's never a good sign. He looks up and notices the door has already been broken before. That's another warning sign. Then he feels it, a presence behind him. He turns and a shadow is already moving toward him. The zombie attacks from behind, fast enough to catch him off guard, but he manages to block it with the golf club just in time. The creature still manages to knock him down, and now it's right on top of him. He struggles to push it off, using all his strength, and barely manages to create some distance. The zombie comes at him again, aggressive, non-stop, and he responds with a strong kick, sending it across the room just to get a moment to reset. That moment is enough. He gets up, grabs his stance, and prepares the final strike. The creature is down, but still moving, so he steps in and swings with everything he has, landing the hit cleanly and ending it for good. The zombie drops and doesn't move again. He stands there, exhausted, and lets out everything at once, the tension finally breaking after the fight. Then he starts searching the room, hoping for something useful, but finds nothing worth taking. The status window appears, showing he gained 1 coin less than expected, which doesn't make much sense, but there's no explanation for that either. That thought leads to another one. What if the signal from the other building was wrong? What if there aren't actually any survivors waiting? For a moment, that doubt sets in. Then a sound, from inside a locker. He turns immediately and approaches it. That's not a zombie sound. That's different. And just like that, the doubt disappears. The signal wasn't fake. Someone is actually here. He moves closer to the locker, steady, careful, and knocks on it, making it clear he's not here to attack, just to talk. He introduces himself as an employee from the sales team, keeping it simple, but there's no response at first, just silence again, which is starting to feel like a pattern in this building. After a moment, he decides not to wait any longer and prepares to break the door, open by force. Then a voice comes from inside, asking if he's assistant manager Song, and that question catches him off guard immediately. Before he can even process it, the door opens, and standing there is Sona, his coworker. That alone is enough to stop everything for a second. She's been here the whole time, alive, hidden, managing to avoid everything going on outside. They sit down and start talking, and he learns she's been here since the beginning. She explains what happened the night before. Someone knocked on the door, asking for help urgently. She had a bad feeling and refused to open it, which turned out to be the right decision, because the man forced his way in anyway. She hid in the break room, and not long after, the man turned into a zombie. She heard him growling and dragging himself through the dark office, which connects everything instantly. That was the same zombie he fought earlier. She asks if he has a weapon, and he points to the wooden spear in the corner. He notices it immediately, same style as the one used before. She explains she made it by sharpening a mop handle with a utility knife. Simple but effective. There's blood on the tip, which confirms she's already dealt with zombies herself. That changes how he looks at her. Still, even with that, he knows adding another person is a risk. More responsibility, more variables. So he decides to leave. But she doesn't let that happen easily. She calls out to him, grabs his golf club and says he's going to need a weapon. She insists on joining him, not willing to stay behind. Then she grabs his arm and asks him not to leave her alone. He apologizes, but keeps his stance. He can't risk his life like that right now. She pushes back harder, saying she won't survive on her own and asking for his help. He pulls away again, still firm, still trying to keep it practical. Then she changes approach. She tells him she used to practice fencing, that she can actually fight. He pauses. That's new. She shows him a scar on her arm as proof and says she cleared the entire 6th floor herself, offering to show the bodies if needed. That's not something you say lightly. She warns him he'll regret leaving her behind, and this time, it lands differently. Then she adds one more detail. She won a silver medal at a national sports festival. That's enough to shift things. He looks at her again, rethinking the situation, and finally decides to accept. They shake hands, and just like that, the decision is made. They're teaming up. No long discussion, no overthinking, just survival logic adjusting in real time. She explains she already searched the place and that all the clothes and food are here with them, which covers a major problem. He asks about chargers, and she confirms the satellite internet is still working. That lines up with what he already knows. She realizes they should collect as many chargers as possible, and they start gathering what they can. He asks how many zombies she's faced, and she answers, 8. Not small numbers. She finds 2 chargers and packs them into her backpack, keeping things ready for the next move. Now with both of them working together, the situation changes. He knows his chances just improved, even if the risks are still there. She asks if they're ready to go, but he stops her for a moment and looks down the hallway, checking the area before moving. He notices marks on the door and asks what caused them. She says the man who broke in tried to crush it using a desk. He studies it more closely and realizes those marks don't match that explanation, so he moves in to check properly. On the desk, he finds a caliper, not something he expected. He picks it up and immediately understands the value. Metal, solid, won't break easily like the golf club did. She points out it's short, which is true, but he doesn't seem bothered by it. Instead, she comes up with an idea. She takes the tool and starts modifying it, using tape to attach it to a long mop handle. Simple fix, effective result. She shows him the finished weapon, and it's basically a spear now, with the added benefit of being able to grab things. He takes it, clearly satisfied, because now he finally has something reliable. With that upgrade, the situation becomes a little more balanced. Between her supplies and his, they're no longer struggling for resources, and for the first time in a while, moving forward actually feels possible. He notices a frying pan inside her backpack and actually pauses for a second, because that's not exactly standard zombie survival gear. He asks where she got it, and she gets a bit embarrassed, explaining she originally brought it for trading, but just forgot it was there. He takes it, looks at it properly, and immediately understands the value. This isn't random, this is utility. Melt snow, get water. Suddenly that useless item just became clutch. Then she asks how he even found her in the first place, and he explains about the signal from the other building. He shows her the phone and the message, and she reads it carefully. 6th and 7th floors, other survivors waiting. Sounds good on paper. In reality, not so simple. She questions whether it's actually safe to join strangers like that, and honestly, that's a fair concern. They both think about it and come to the same conclusion. Too risky. In this situation, trusting the wrong person is worse than being alone. She explains why she teamed up with him instead. Finding someone reliable is already rare, and she'd rather take that chance than gamble on a random group. If the choice is bad company or no company, she's picking solo every time. He agrees with that logic, so they drop the idea of joining the other building for now. No unnecessary risks. Then she thanks him for listening and brings up something new. She thinks Manager Choi is still alive. That catches his attention immediately. He asks what she means, and she explains what happened on the first day. The manager was with her on the 6th floor but ran off and never came back. At the time, she ignored someone asking for help and later realized the manager had escaped on his own. Timing matters here. She says it happened on the night of the second day. He processes that quickly. If that's true, then the manager could be somewhere around the 3rd or 5th floor. That also means if those other survivors don't get a response, they might start moving toward him instead. And if groups start forming without them, that could become a problem later. He doesn't like that possibility. Still, they decide not to get distracted by outside variables. Focus stays on their own survival. Right now, they have one more coin. That means one purchase. He considers buying a hat for warmth, but then he looks at her properly and notices she's barefoot. That changes the priority immediately. Cold feet in this situation isn't discomfort, it's a liability. So he decides to buy boots for her instead. He opens the shop ready to confirm it, but hesitates for a moment when he sees the options again. That brief pause hits, thinking about himself versus the team. He doesn't like that feeling, so instead of forcing the decision right there, he steps back from it. Too tired, too much happening. He leaves it for later and ends up falling asleep. Next day, he wakes up with sunlight coming through. Another day starting whether he's ready or not. He asks her about her phone battery and she checks it immediately. A bit startled that he's already up. He mentions he's still not used to the cold, which is fair at this point. She tells him she charged everything except the phone he left behind earlier, and her current battery is at 22%. That's not good, but not critical yet. Still, power needs to be managed carefully. Then she brings up something important, a solar generator on the rooftop. That's new information. He asks if she's serious and she confirms it. She was actually in charge of that project. It was installed but later canceled due to a malfunction. Not a safety issue, just something that stopped it from being used. That means it might still work. He asks if she can operate it. She says yes. That's all he needs to hear. They immediately decide to head to the rooftop. When they try to open the door, it doesn't go smoothly. Snow has piled up heavily on the other side, making it hard to even move it. They push, force it open with effort, and finally step out onto the rooftop. The amount of snow makes even basic movement feel like work, and they both react to how ridiculous it is that opening a door became this difficult. He looks up and asks if the generator is really up there, and she confirms it. So now the plan is simple. Get to it and try to bring it online. He finds a temporary ladder and tries to pull it down, but it's frozen in place. Doesn't move at all, so they switch approach. No waiting around. He asks if she can make it up, and she offers to climb if he helps her reach. He agrees. He positions himself, gives her the boost, and with one clean movement, she manages to get up and hold onto the top without slipping. She stabilizes herself and gets ready to move, clearly comfortable with the height and movement. He watches her for a second and notices it. She moves lightly, controlled, no wasted effort. Then she starts searching, and quickly spots the generator, sitting in the corner, buried under snow. With a small smile, she confirms she found the generator, and immediately gets to work. She says she'll take it apart and throw the pieces down one by one, and he positions himself below, like he just got promoted to catching department. The first panel comes down, clean catch, no problem. Second one follows right after, same result, handled easily. Then the last panel drops, heavier than the others, and this time he actually struggles to catch it, almost losing it, but managing to hold on. Barely. Still counts. With all the parts down, they start putting everything together. It's slow, tiring work, and both of them feel it, but they keep going until the setup is complete. She confirms it. The installation is done. They finally have a power source. Not perfect, but something. She points out the obvious problem: snow is going to reduce efficiency, and he adds another one: clouds. Of course. Even when things work, they don't really work properly. Still, it's better than nothing. She mentions that with strong sunlight, the generator used to reach 50% in half a day, which sounds good on paper, but right now the sun isn't doing them any favors, so they settle for hoping it at least charges a little. Next day, they check the result. Phone battery goes up 8%. That's it. A full day for 8%. Both of them just look at it, already knowing what that means. All that effort, all that setup, and the return is basically crumbs. She reacts first, clearly frustrated, and he doesn't argue with that. There's no way to spin this into a win. Without proper sunlight, the generator is just barely holding on. But instead of staying stuck on that, he shifts focus, says there's still something they can do. A new plan, a new direction. He already knows where they need to go next. The company warehouse. Supplies, resources, everything they actually need to survive longer. That's the next objective. She agrees immediately. No hesitation there. The only real issue now is how to get there. He starts thinking about navigation, GPS, battery usage, because getting lost right now is not an option. Then she casually solves that problem, says it's fine, she knows the way. He looks at her confused for a second, and she explains the warehouse is near her house. She used to walk her dog there regularly. That route is already memorized. No GPS needed. That's the kind of information you don't question, you just accept. He reacts to that properly this time. That's not small luck, that's survival level luck. Having someone who knows the route changes everything. At that moment, it's clear teaming up with her was the right decision. No doubt left there. He calls her name, getting her attention, and she turns toward him, waiting. Then he asks a very specific question, her shoe size. She pauses, clearly confused, because that's not the kind of question you expect right now. But he already has a plan. He tells her he saw boots in the shop and thought of getting them for her if they fit. Simple explanation, no extra detail. She answers, size 230, and thanks him, actually smiling this time. That reaction alone tells him he made the right call. He confirms it mentally and prepares to get them. She offers to go with him, but he tells her to wait. He'll handle it. He makes the purchase. The boots appear. She tries them on and they fit perfectly, just like everything else from that system. Custom made without asking. That problem is solved. Then right after that, the status window appears again, and this time it shows something new. A party has been formed between them. He notices that any coin she earns automatically becomes his too. That's when it clicks properly. This isn't just teamwork, this is shared profit. More members means more coins, more gains, better survival odds. Simple math, but very useful math. The young woman thanks him for the boots, still genuinely happy, while he's already thinking ahead. This party system changes everything. Expanding the group isn't just emotional support anymore, it's strategy. She asks about the status window, clearly curious, and he pauses for a second, wondering if there are more functions hidden in there. He drifts into that thought a bit too long until she calls his name again, snapping him back. She thinks something's wrong, but he brushes it off, saying he's just a little dizzy from not eating properly. While talking, he realizes something important. She can't see the window at all. That confirms it. The system is visible only to him. They decide to eat something first and get their energy back before making any moves. Fast forward to the 14th day, and the situation tightens again. The water runs out completely. This time there's no backup left. He feels the effect immediately. Thirst, weakness, everything hitting at once. So they go back to the only option they have, melting snow. She gathers papers and documents to use as fuel, and they agree to set up the fire on the terrace to avoid turning the building into a hazard. Once outside, he brings up another problem: smoke. That kind of signal can attract the wrong kind of people. Looters. Groups that move around taking what they want. That risk is real, but right now water matters more. He lights the fire with the lighter, and once it catches, both of them just watch it for a second. That flame is doing more than just burning paper. It's keeping them alive. They move closer, warming themselves, finally feeling some heat after all that cold. The young woman reacts first, smiling slightly, clearly feeling alive again. Then she places the frying pan over the fire and starts melting snow. Slow process, but it works. The snow turns into water, and just like that, they finally have something to drink. Warm water. Not clean, not perfect, but enough. They drink it, and the effect is immediate. Energy comes back, strength returns, even a little bit of comfort. He actually pauses while drinking, taking it in, because something as simple as warm water feels like a reward now. She gets emotional too, tears showing up as she realizes how much this small thing means. They sit there by the fire, not saying much, just understanding one thing clearly. They're still in this, still alive, still fighting, and they decide it right there. They're going to keep going no matter what. On the morning of the 15th day, that calm doesn't last long. He's suddenly woken up by her calling him urgently. He sits up immediately, confused, still trying to process what's happening, and she throws a blanket over him first, making sure he doesn't freeze while waking up. Then she points toward the building across the street. There's a new message. He asks what it says, and her expression already tells him it's not simple. She says the other survivors are coming here, to this building, to meet up. That gets him moving instantly. No delay this time. He gets up and starts preparing. Because now this isn't a maybe situation, it's happening. The tension rises immediately. If they're friendly, that's help. If they're not, that's a problem. And right now, there's no way to know. He asks when she saw it, and she tells him she woke him up the moment she noticed. They moved fast. That's the key detail. They're already on the way. Then the thought hits them both. The fire. That smoke could have acted like a signal. And if those aren't survivors looking for help, but looters instead, then they just invited trouble directly. So they decide quickly they're not joining anyone blindly, no trust without proof. Then she spots them, already here. 3 men, wearing masks, carrying weapons and backpacks, moving toward the building. Fast. Too fast. The timing confirms it. They didn't waste any time at all. They react immediately, packing everything they can. No hesitation, no delay. This could turn into a fight at any moment. Outside, those 3 don't move like amateurs. They handle the zombies efficiently, striking, clearing space, working like they've done this before. It's clean, controlled, and fast. Within minutes, they clear the area around them and start heading toward the building. He watches and calculates. 15 minutes at most before they reach their floor. That's the window. He finishes packing and asks if she's ready. She says she's almost done, and both of them prepare to leave before things escalate. Outside, situation shifts again. More zombies start appearing, and this time it's not just a few, it's a group. Then it grows into a full horde. The 3 men get surrounded, caught in the open, and now even they have to change their plan. The fight turns into a retreat, and just like that, the situation gets even more unstable. Once the horde closes in, they shout and immediately switch from fighting to running. No hero moment. Just survival mode. They sprint through the snow-covered street with zombies right behind them, closing distance fast. One of them swings a sledgehammer while moving, using it to keep space, not to win the fight. Then they spot an opening, a building window. No hesitation. One of them smashes it clean with the sledgehammer, glass shattering everywhere, and they dive inside one by one just to escape the swarm. Quick, rough but effective. Upstairs, our protagonist watches this and gets irritated because the situation just got more complicated. He turns to her and asks if she left anything behind. She says she took everything important. He glances at the solar panels for a moment and decides to leave them. She points out that means no power, but he keeps it simple. Survival first. That answer lands, and she doesn't argue after that. Decision made. They get ready to move again, but then a loud crash echoes through the hallway, sharp enough to freeze both of them instantly. That's not random noise, that's movement. The zombies are coming up the stairs. Now it's a choice. Go up to the roof or go down. The roof is easier to defend, but the cold up there isn't something they can handle for long, so he chooses to go down. Plan is simple. Reach the 6th floor and block the path. They start descending carefully, controlling every step, keeping noise low. He tells her to stay ready, because anything can appear at any moment, and right on cue, something does. 3 men, those same strangers, coming up the stairs toward them. That timing is bad. Both sides stop. Both sides grip their weapons. Nobody trusts anyone here. Then something shifts. The protagonist suddenly feels it. Everything around him slows down. Not physically, but his perception changes. Movements become clearer, sharper. The girl reacts too, saying she feels the same thing as before, only stronger this time. That sensation again. She looks at him, trying to understand it, and he confirms it. Something is different. The 3 men continue moving and head toward the 4th floor. Meanwhile, our protagonist and the girl stay on the 5th floor, waiting. He warns her, they're coming. She says she already knows. Both of them take position, holding their weapons steady, ready for a fight that should happen any second. But nothing happens. Silence. That's what throws them off. They wait, watching the door, expecting movement, but nothing comes. The girl notices it first. Something about the situation feels wrong. Then suddenly the protagonist reacts instantly, stepping away from the door without warning. And in that exact moment, a nearby glass window shatters violently. Perfect timing. If he hadn't moved, that would have hit. She asks if he's okay, and he confirms he is, then checks on her. She's fine too. Both of them process it quickly. This wasn't random. He asks if that was an explosion, and she agrees. That explains the force. Then the question hits. Why would they use something like that when they know people are inside? That's not normal behavior for survivors looking to team up. That's something else. He remembers the warning, avoid the 5th floor. Now it makes sense. She brings up another point, thinking the department head might still be alive somewhere in the building. Based on what they've seen, if someone hasn't moved, they're likely on the 3rd or 5th floor. That thought settles in, and the situation starts looking worse. He starts connecting things, and the conclusion he reaches isn't good. Something is wrong with those survivors. So, he decides to move and check for himself. She asks if they're going now, and he confirms it immediately. If his guess is right, then waiting is the worst option. They move forward, flashlight cutting through the dark hallway, dust floating in the air, everything quiet in a way that feels wrong. He pulls her into a room, and they begin checking the area carefully. She looks around at the damage and asks what happened here. He tells her to stay alert. No distractions. Then she stops. Something caught her attention. She points ahead, telling him to look. He follows her line of sight and sees it, a body, lying on the floor, surrounded by red. He tells her to stay back and moves in alone to check. The scene is bad, but what stands out is the number. Only 2 bodies. That doesn't match the explosion they just heard. He looks toward the door and sees it completely destroyed. That part confirms it. Something powerful was used here. He reacts, frustrated because nothing about this situation is clean anymore. Then the thought hits him. Why were they targeted? Why go this far? And right when that question lands, he hears a voice. Familiar. Department Head Choi. He turns and sees him nearby, barely holding on, his legs completely messed up, the kind of injury you don't recover from in this situation. The man starts talking, saying he had no choice, and then notices them properly. His expression shifts, surprised at first, then that strange smile shows up, the kind that makes the whole atmosphere uncomfortable immediately. He calls out to Manager Song and starts crawling toward him, dragging himself across the floor, reaching out his hand like that's going to fix anything. Manager Song just stands there, frozen for a second, not confused, just processing how bad this looks. The man keeps begging, asking for help, saying he wants to live, shouting that it's not fair, that he can't end like this. It's desperate, loud, and honestly painful to watch, and through all of it, the protagonist doesn't respond, just watches with a dark expression, already understanding where this is going. The girl steps forward and asks if Department Head Choi is still alive, and the man looks at her like he didn't expect anyone else to be there. Then he introduces himself to her, still crawling closer, still asking for help like they have something to offer. The protagonist finally speaks, but it's direct. No medicine, no treatment, nothing they can do. That answer doesn't land well. The man snaps, shouting again that he wants to live, and then he drops his solution. If he turns into a zombie, he won't die. That's his plan. He asks them to bring a zombie to him, or just take him downstairs so he can get bitten. That's where his logic is reached. Manager Song shuts that down immediately, apologizing but refusing, pushing his hand away without hesitation. Clean answer. That's when the mood flips. The chief gets angry, starts yelling, asking why they won't help after everything he did, claiming he stopped the robbers. Then he throws accusations at them, saying they're just trying to run away together, not caring about him. The situation turns ugly fast. Then he drops the real problem. He still has a bomb. Now it makes sense. He reaches for something, but the protagonist reacts immediately, shouting at him, not letting that move finish. The girl catches on too, and realizes those men earlier weren't allies at all. They were looters. That explains everything. The explosion, the behavior, the mess they walked into. The protagonist confirms it. Nothing useful in their bags, no supplies, just trouble. She checks her gear, noticing her shield is broken, and he agrees with her earlier judgment. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was exactly what it looked like. The tension settles, but it's not clean. The protagonist glances to the side, clearly affected by the decision he just made. The girl looks up at him from the floor, trying to process everything. He explains it simply. Choi would have died anyway. Blood loss alone was enough. This just made it quicker. He tells her not to feel guilty. She listens, still shaken, and asks about turning into a zombie. He answers straight. The result is the same. That's not survival. That's just a different ending. She takes a moment, then nods slightly. Not because she likes it, but because she understands it. They move to the broken window, and the outside view hits them immediately. Snow-covered city, clear daylight, and then something else. She points down, calling him over, and when he looks, he sees it. A massive horde. Right below them. That explosion earlier didn't stay quiet. People online are already talking about it, posting about the noise and the growing number of zombies in the area. He checks the messages and confirms they weren't the ones who spread it, but now it doesn't matter. The location is exposed. That means more zombies, more looters, more problems coming straight to them. He looks over the area again and realizes most of the monsters from before are still around. The lobby is probably packed by now, completely filled. Walking through it normally isn't even an option anymore. That leads to one conclusion. They have to leave soon. By the next day at the latest, before even the emergency exits become unusable. To confirm the situation, he suggests checking the first floor. She takes the lead this time, headlamp on, moving down the stairs carefully while he follows. It's quiet again, but that kind of quiet never lasts. Then she stops, asks him to listen. There it is, a loud banging sound echoing from somewhere above them. Both of them go still, exchanging a look. That's not random noise. That's movement again. He slowly peeks through a crack to see what's going on, and what he sees immediately changes the mood. A figure, covered in blood, walking. The girl sees it too and covers her mouth to stop herself from reacting. The image doesn't make sense at first. She suggests it could be Choi after turning, but dismisses it just as quickly. The timing doesn't match. He should already be gone. The protagonist thinks it through. Maybe one of the looters got caught and came up the stairs. But even that doesn't feel right. If that happened, they'd already be fully turned by now. So that leaves two possibilities. Either a survivor from another floor made it up, or something else climbed its way here. The other possibility is even worse. The creature could have gotten in through the broken window on the 5th floor. Seeing that zombie crawling through the window, they decide to go with the first theory for now, because sometimes the bad explanation is still better than the worse one. He goes back to the first floor, sees the horde below, and immediately knows the place is already gone. He expected trouble, sure, but this is the building getting completely packed up and sold to disaster. He says the floor is lost, The girl worries about the security room and what might have happened there, and she figures Assistant Manager Choi probably heard everything up close, which is exactly the kind of thing that makes the whole situation feel even uglier. His hand trembles slightly as he thinks it through, and he says going out through the front door would be a terrible idea. The girl suggests the underground parking garage and he agrees right away. He already saw zombies there before, and now he wants to know how many have gathered. She estimates about 10, and he points out that's fewer than the lobby, which is the kind of optimism that only survives in this building. She thinks the snow probably made people abandon their cars, and he notices there are plenty of places to hide. Since it's underground, there's no wind, so if they move fast, the zombies won't catch their scent. Then he points to a mirror and asks what she can see in the reflection. She looks carefully and says she can see the B1 level, though the angle makes it hard to read clearly. She strains to see better and says the number of monsters looks similar, so he decides they'll go up to the 7th floor instead. Back in the office, she says the best option would be to escape by car, and while she's writing the plan down, he remembers the car was left out in the cold for too long, so the battery might already be dead. That kills the idea pretty fast. He shuts it down, and she regrets they don't have bicycles, which is honestly the kind of sentence that only makes sense in this kind of apocalypse. So instead, they focus on mapping the best route on foot through the city using the map. Outside the window, the snow keeps falling and the temperature is down to -35 degrees, which is basically the weather declaring war. Their backpacks are already packed and the departure is getting close. 5 hours to go. Then she asks why he isn't sleeping, which catches him off guard, because apparently his restlessness is that obvious. She says yes, because he has been moving around and tossing from side to side the whole time. He falls silent and turns his face away with a serious look. She asks if it's because of the person they found on the 1st floor. He confirms it, and she tells him he can bring them along if he wants to. He thanks her but refuses, because that would put her in danger too. He says it's a shame, because that person seemed trustworthy, and she agrees that the situation outside is dangerous. While they're both lying down, he asks if that person can join them, and she says yes. Then he suddenly gets up from the table, which startles her a little. He grabs his phone and says he needs to use it for a moment, apologizing for the brightness. She smiles and says it's fine. He sends a message to Assistant Manager Choi, setting up a meeting for 6 in the morning. On the 17th day of survival, they prepare to leave at 5:40 a.m. He checks the post again and sees there are no comments, just 2 anonymous replies. Even so, he thinks they might still be waiting, and decides to go anyway. They head down the stairs and pass through the floors until they reach the 1st level. When they arrive at the meeting point, nobody is there. The girl points out that it's only been 3 minutes past the time and asks if they should wait. Outside, the snow keeps falling hard, and time drags like it's doing it on purpose. Then the phone clock changes to 6:05, and still nobody shows up. He decides they are not coming and there's nothing left to do there. Then he notices something else, a zombie that wasn't there before. The girl confirms it wasn't there a moment ago. He looks at it, then back at the situation and decides they need to deal with that monster and stick to the original plan. The girl watches the movement carefully and points it out, these zombies really do keep wandering in the same areas, just like she noticed before. Not random, just looping around like broken NPCs. The young man pays attention to the details and notices something else. Some of them just stand still, completely idle until something triggers them to move. That's useful information. They crouch behind a car, keeping low, staying out of sight as one of the zombies starts getting closer. Both of them exchange a quick look. No words needed, just confirming they're about to engage. Then he moves first. He stands up from behind the car and steps right into view, facing the zombie directly. Instead of rushing in, he drags his foot across the ground, making just enough noise to pull its attention. Simple move, clean execution. The zombie reacts immediately, slowly turning its head toward the sound, like it's trying to process what it just heard. Then it starts walking toward him, unsteady, awkward, but focused. As it gets closer, it lets out that low growl and finally shows its face properly, the kind that makes it clear this thing isn't slowing down on its own. Then the switch flips. The creature suddenly speeds up and charges at him, mouth wide open, going straight for the bite like that's the only plan it knows. The scream comes with it, loud and desperate, as it closes the distance fast. And right there, facing it head on, the young man doesn't panic. He just gives a slight smile, like this is already over. He doesn't waste time. Clean movement, clean hit. The makeshift spear comes down and connects straight to the zombie's head, like he already solved the fight before it even started. The girl follows up right after. No hesitation, and together, they finish it. A notification pops up. 1 coin obtained, straight to the group leader. So yeah, teamwork is real, but the wallet still has one owner. He gives her a thumbs up, and she looks relieved, actually happy she got something out of that swing instead of just trauma. They keep moving through the parking garage, careful, controlled, not trying to wake up the entire underground. Step by step, they make their way to the exit, and once they're outside, the cold hits instantly. The kind that doesn't ask, just attacks. Snow everywhere, streets completely buried. He points out the obvious, sleeping out here is basically volunteering to disappear. So he sets a destination, and they start running through the snow, weaving past abandoned cars like this is some frozen obstacle course. In the distance, there's a lone zombie just wandering around, completely clueless, and he comments that yeah, progress is slow, but slow beats getting surrounded and deleted. Eventually, they reach their target, the Qian stream right in the middle of the city. He warns her to move carefully, because the police station nearby is basically a zombie hotspot, 30 meters left. Close enough to feel hopeful, far enough to still die. They move forward carefully, cutting the distance down to 17 meters. Everything looks smooth, too smooth. Then the wind hits. Not just cold, strong. It carries the snow and their scent. And now it's a problem. He immediately realizes what that means, and she points toward the police station. The zombies there start reacting, like something just flipped a switch. One of them turns its head, then more. And just like that, the entire mood shifts. They've been detected. A group breaks into a run straight toward them. No hesitation. The girl panics and asks what they're supposed to do, and he runs through options fast. Going down into the stream. That's a trap. Even if the zombies fall, they'll just pile up and drag more in. Noise alone would summon half the city. Buildings? Every open entrance is already occupied. Breaking a window would just ring the dinner bell louder. Time's gone. She yells that they need to move now and points to the left. A parked bus. That's the plan. They rush to it and try the door. Doesn't move. Of course it doesn't. She suggests breaking the window, but he stops her for a second because he sees something inside. The key is still in the ignition. That changes everything. He grips the spear, lines it up, and swings. The glass shatters. Loud, sharp, but at this point, Stealth is already dead. She climbs in first. He follows right behind as the zombies close in. She yells at him to hurry, and he immediately tries to shut the door behind them, pushing against it as the horde reaches the bus. Outside, it's getting crowded fast. Hands, bodies, pressure building on the door. Inside, he jumps into the driver's seat and tries to start the bus. Nothing. No response. Perfect timing. The door starts giving way, and he realizes they need to hold it manually. She understands instantly and runs over to help. Now both of them are pushing against it, trying to keep the flood outside. The engine tries again. The wheels spin, but the bus doesn't move. It's stuck in the snow like it gave up before they even got here. Now it's getting real. She's staring at the door, asking it to hold like it's going to listen. He's sweating in freezing weather, which says everything. The zombies are right there, seconds away from breaking in, and the bus is just sitting there like it forgot its purpose. She yells that they're coming, and he's staring at the controls, wondering why this thing refuses to cooperate right now. Of all times. One of the zombies almost gets inside the bus, reaching in like it already booked a seat, and both of them are basically begging the engine to wake up and do its job. He snaps first, yelling at the thing and jabbing it through the door with his makeshift spear. The hit lands clean and he shoves it back outside, buying them a few seconds that suddenly feel very expensive. They're still stuck, still tense, still one mistake away from getting dragged out. He locks his eyes on the front, focuses, and then just slams the accelerator like forcing the bus to remember it's supposed to move. And finally it responds. The bus jerks forward out of nowhere, throwing the girl off balance and straight to the floor. He asks if she's okay. She gets up fast and confirms, and he immediately tells her to hold on because this is still far from safe. But the important part, the bus is moving. Slowly at first, then enough to break away. They actually pull out of the horde, sliding through the snow as the city passes by and the sun starts coming up like it missed the chaos briefing. He keeps driving carefully, trying not to lose control, foot pressed down just enough to gain distance from everything chasing them. The green bus keeps pushing forward through the frozen streets like it's barely holding itself together. Which fair. Then he notices the road. Frozen solid. That's when the problem upgrades. He tries the handbrake, and the bus immediately starts drifting sideways like it has zero loyalty to physics. The side mirror smacks into a pole, sparks flying, and inside the bus she's already bracing for impact, eyes shut, teeth clenched, expecting the worst. The bus finally skids to a stop, sideways in the middle of the street. Not crashed, but not exactly safe either. She exhales, gripping the metal bar like it's the only stable thing left, and he says they at least blocked the door, so for now they're alive. Then they remember what's outside. Zombies are already slamming into the windows. Non-stop, no patience, just constant pressure. He says they need something to pull their attention away, because sitting here isn't a plan, it's a countdown. She warns more are coming, and he looks at the situation and realizes, yeah, this bus might actually tip if this keeps going. Hands start covering the windows. Too many, too close, and he just thinks how ridiculous it would be to end like this after everything. They made it this far just to get boxed inside a bus. That's how it ends? Then something crashes. A shopping cart flies out of a store and slams into a car with a loud, clean impact. Every zombie nearby reacts instantly, turning toward the noise like someone just rang a dinner bell in the opposite direction. And just like that, the pressure disappears. The horde runs off, abandoning the bus completely. She drops to the floor, relief hitting all at once, saying they survived, and he agrees it was way too close. He looks out the window again, this time actually thinking. She points out that a few zombies are still around but should fall off soon, and he asks where the noise came from. She points toward a building and says it had to come from there, probably the second or third floor. Then the question hits, who did that? He doesn't know. She guesses maybe it's another survivor, someone who still has some humanity left, and for once that doesn't sound like a bad guess. Then she spots something, a person, waving from a building. They both look and realize, yeah, that wasn't random. Someone helped them. He thinks it's a woman based on the hair, and she notices the binoculars. The figure watches them through the lens, then holds up a phone with a simple thank you message on the screen. After that, she lowers it and keeps observing. He notices the thumbs up and just says it straight. There's still humanity left. The girl agrees, saying it would have been depressing if everyone out there was just looters. Then the mood shifts slightly. He casually mentions he already ate all the food before meeting her, and she just looks at him like that explains a lot. She laughs it off, joking about how out of everything they ended up with a frying pan. Then she says there should be ramen at the logistics warehouse they're heading to, and he agrees immediately. They're eating ramen the moment they get there. Priorities are still intact. Later, he wakes up inside the parked bus, and the cold hits again like it never left. Both of them are wrapped in blankets, still shivering. He asks if she's okay. She asks if he's awake, and then he notices her face pale. He sneezes, and that's when it clicks. Yeah, this bus didn't save them from the cold. It just gave them a slightly better place to freeze. He figures out she woke up because of the cold, and she admits it, but still says she's fine, which is a bold claim when her body is literally shaking. He grabs her hand to warm it up and immediately realizes how bad it is. Her skin is freezing, lips turning bluish, whole body shivering like the cold is winning the fight. And yeah, he's not doing much better either. He says it straight. They need heat or they won't even be able to move. She suggests making a fire. He pauses for a second, thinking it through, then decides to do it. But she stops him and asks if they're seriously doing that inside the bus. She points out the obvious problem: smoke, and yeah, suffocating after surviving zombies would be the dumbest ending possible. He explains they need ventilation, but breaking a window is basically sending an invitation to every zombie nearby. Then both of them look up at the ceiling at the same time and realize the same thing. That's the move. They grab their spears and start working on the bus roof, forcing holes through it. It's not pretty, but it works. She actually gets excited seeing the hole open up like they just unlocked a survival upgrade. He gives credit where it's due, and says they should make a few more to keep the air flowing properly. Soon the smoke starts escaping through the ceiling, while snow keeps falling outside like nothing's changed. Inside, they sit around the fire, finally getting some warmth back into their bodies, and he casually mentions the paper actually came in clutch. Not glamorous, but effective. Then she calls him over and shows something on her phone. It's a post from the person who helped them earlier. She asks what he thinks. The message is simple. The person wants to join their group. He takes the phone, reads it carefully, and decides to respond. First thing he does is ask which building they're in. The reply comes back. They're in a building with a convenience store on the first floor. Then comes the verification test. The person asks them to identify the car parked in front. The girl checks and says it's a white Sonata. Correct answer. That's enough confirmation. Now the request is clear. They want to join. He just holds the phone for a moment thinking, because yeah, help is good, but trust is expensive. At the same time, in the survivor community, someone is posting about what just happened. The guy says he opened a window, saw a zombie climbing the wall, panicked and started throwing everything at it like that was the plan. Turns out the zombie used to be a climbing gym instructor, so now it's just using real-life skills to ruin everyone's day. Great. Zombies with hobbies. The time shows 8:56 a.m., and we see the building where that survivor is hiding. Back to the bus, they decide to move and meet the person who helped them. As they walk, she brings up the post about the climbing zombie. Asking what he thinks, he says he already expected something like that, which surprises her, so she asks how. He remembers the broken window on the 5th floor and connects it. Those zombies didn't just appear there, they climbed. Walking through the street, they observe the surroundings more carefully now, and she starts to understand how those things got up there. He says they're getting close, so they move forward carefully, step by step. Exactly at 9 a.m., someone steps out of a building and starts walking toward them. A young woman, calm, serious. The girl asks if that's the one they came to meet. The newcomer waves, friendly, and for a second it almost looks normal. The girl notices her thick winter jacket and can't help feeling a bit jealous, while he's already thinking they might finally upgrade their gear. And then it collapses instantly. A zombie comes from behind and slams the new girl to the ground. No warning, just straight impact. She hits the snow, stunned, staring up, trying to process what just happened. Both of them freeze, because it just happened right in front of them, and there's nothing clean about it. The growls start filling the street, more zombies closing in, drawn by the scent. The situation flips in seconds. He covers his mouth, stomach twisting, watching it unfold. More zombies gather, surrounding her, and at that point he knows if they stay, they're next. No debate, no time, just a decision. They have to leave, so they turn around and walk away. He pauses for a second, looks back, sees that she doesn't want to leave, but he puts a hand on her shoulder and tells her they need to go. She hesitates, then agrees, and they keep moving, leaving that scene behind. Then she spots something, a convenience store, and points it out with her flashlight. He looks at it and smiles for a second, already thinking supplies, food, maybe something useful. Then he looks closer, and the smile drops. The place is empty. He looks around the store and comments that yeah, of course there are no zombies here. The place is already empty, nothing left to fight over. The girl notices crushed soda cans on the floor and suggests checking the storage room, because if anything survived, it would be there. They go in and actually find a few intact drink cans lying around, which already feels like a small win. They notice something odd. Beer cans left there like someone placed them on purpose. Not dropped, not scattered, the kind of detail that makes you think someone was here, thinking ahead, or maybe just done caring. She asks if they should take only 2, keeping it reasonable even now, which says a lot about how they're still trying to stay controlled in a world that isn't. They move on, and at a subway station, the turnstiles are locked with a bright red "Do Not Enter" sign, like the system is still trying to enforce rules in a place where rules already lost. She complains that all the clothing stores were completely looted, nothing left, not even scraps. He says he expected something at least, but she points out the obvious: who stocks winter clothes in summer? Still, she didn't expect everything to be wiped clean like this. He even finds it a bit ironic that the phone store is untouched. Like, yeah, great, fully stocked phones. Zero signal, zero use. They estimate they still have a long walk ahead, maybe around 20 kilometers, which in this weather sounds like a challenge the world designed personally for them. Then she remembers something and shows him her phone. A picture she took earlier, a message written on a subway wall. It says the chaos exceeded expectations and the person didn't know what to do. That's not helpful. That's just someone documenting their breakdown. He finds it unsettling, and she casually drops the next problem. Her battery is dead. Perfect timing. So they move forward, no more distractions. They walk slowly through the subway corridor. Careful steps, weapons ready, flashlights barely cutting through the darkness. The place is weirdly clean, too clean. He points it out, she agrees, and both of them understand what that means. If there are no bodies here, then everything that should be here moves somewhere else, probably together. The thought alone gives her goosebumps because yeah, running into one zombie is a fight, running into all of them is just a conclusion. They reach the tracks and find a train sitting at the platform, still, silent, waiting like it missed its last stop and decided to stay. He lights the way and signals her to go ahead, both of them approaching carefully. Near the door, they notice a torn piece of paper on the ground, but inside the train it's empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just nothing. That's worse than a mess. That's questions with no answers. Then she spots something on a seat, a small wooden box. He gets closer, she opens it, and inside is a kitchen knife. Clean, sharp, actually useful. He notes the range is short, but at this point anything that cuts is valuable. Then she pulls out a Bluetooth speaker she found and suggests using it to attract zombies. Now that's a real idea. Controlled noise instead of accidental chaos. He just regrets they didn't get here earlier because aside from that, the train has nothing else worth taking. So they leave and continue through the station, moving deeper into the corridor. Quiet, too quiet. Then something appears ahead, a tall shadow just standing there. He stops immediately. Both of them lock in. No movement, no sound, just presence. He throws a rock to test it. The rock hits. Nothing happens. The figure doesn't react at all. Then the flashlight reveals it properly. A massive zombie. Huge frame. Built like it didn't skip a single day of training even after death. He actually looks impressed for a second, because yeah, that size isn't normal. The girl recognizes it instantly, and explains, it used to be a professional baseball player. That explains everything. Strength didn't disappear, it just switched teams. He decides right away, avoid the fight if possible. No reason to challenge something like that head on. So they try to pass quietly, slow steps, controlled breathing, trying not to trigger anything. And for a moment, it almost works. Then it growls. Low, heavy, enough to freeze both of them in place. The thing turns its head, slowly, locks onto them. Eyes dead, then suddenly glowing. That's it. No more avoiding. He tells her to go with the same plan, and she moves instantly, taking the role of distraction. He grips the spear, readying himself. The zombie starts moving, then suddenly breaks into a run, and the speed catches him off guard. That size shouldn't move like that, but it does. Fast. It closes the distance and attacks, and he barely manages to block it in time. He reacts fast and drives the spear straight into the monster's chest, not to finish it, just to create space. It works. Barely. But it's enough. He immediately calls out for her to attack while he holds it in place. She doesn't hesitate, and swings the golf club straight at its head. The hit lands hard. Too hard. The club head shatters on impact like it just gave up mid-fight. She looks down at what's left of it, surprised, because yeah, weapon durability just hit 0 at the worst time. And the zombie, still standing. Of course it is. It turns toward her instantly, red eyes locking in, moving faster than something that size should. He tries to hold it back with the spear, but the strength difference is obvious now. The weapon snaps under pressure, just breaks like it wasn't meant for this level. And that's it. The monster gets through. It grabs her by the neck and lifts her off the ground like weight doesn't exist anymore. She struggles, air getting cut off, and the thing opens its mouth ready to end it right there. But she still has the knife. She uses it at the last second, forcing herself free from its grip. The moment she lands, she doesn't step back, she steps in. One clean strike, precise, straight to the head. That's the difference. The giant finally drops. Just like that. Silence hits for a second. Both of them still standing. That's already a win. He looks at the body and says it out loud. That strength was insane, even with a weapon stuck in it. He apologizes for not being able to hold it, but she shuts that down quickly. There wasn't a better option there. They did what they could, and they're still alive. That's the result that matters. Then she looks at the knife and comes up with an idea. Attach it to the spear tip. Simple upgrade, but actually smart. He immediately agrees because yeah, a sharp edge at the front fixes the biggest problem they just had. They tape it together with duct tape, turning that broken setup into something way more reliable. She shows the upgraded spear like it's a proper weapon now, and honestly it is. Not perfect, but definitely better than before. After a short rest, they move again, passing through Daemoon Station, and she complains about how the trains had basically nothing useful. Fair complaint. They reach the next stop, Sundang, and just as they're about to continue, an explosion echoes through the tunnel ahead, close enough to matter. He immediately recognizes that direction is off limits now, and tells her to move back. No hesitation. They run, straight back to the train they came from and get inside, using it as cover. They're both breathing heavy now, trying to settle down in the dark carriage. She asks what that was, but he tells her to stay quiet. Right now, noise is a bigger enemy than anything else. They look out into the tunnel, trying to read what's happening. Then they hear it. Footsteps. A lot of them. Fast. And mixed with that, zombie screams. Not hunting sounds. Panic. A whole horde comes rushing through the tunnel, like something behind them is worse than whatever's in front. They don't stop. They don't slow down. They just run past. She asks if they should fight, and he immediately shuts that idea down. Not now. Not against that. So they stay hidden. He stands near the train door, gripping the spear, watching as wave after wave passes by. Zombies sprinting, screaming, not even looking at them, just trying to get away from whatever's chasing them. It keeps going, and then finally it's quiet again. He exhales, thinking it's over, but she stops him too early to relax. And yeah, she's right. Whatever scared that many zombies is still out there. Now they've got a choice. Go back toward the station where zombies are calming down, or head toward the explosion, straight into something unknown. She suggests waiting it out, hiding until it clears. He doesn't like that idea. Slow zombies could wander back, pick up their scent, and that's it. Game over without even a fight. They go silent thinking. Then she says she'll follow his lead. No argument, just trust. So he makes the call. They're going back the way they came. No exploring, no curiosity, just survival. They start running along the platform, trying to get out before anything circles back. But not all of them left. A few zombies remain, and now they've noticed movement. That's enough. He runs harder, knowing they're close to getting out, just a little more distance. Then he warns her, they need to climb up fast. He checks their position and realizes they're already in section 3, which means the gap between them and the zombies is shrinking fast. Not ideal. She quickly pulls something out of her bag while both of them prepare for the climb like this is their last clean exit. He sits at the edge of the platform, ready, waiting for her timing, while she asks where the zombies are. He keeps it simple. If they don't mess this up, they make it out. That's the whole plan. He reaches out his hand and she takes it. He pulls hard, trying to get her up in one clean motion, already complaining about how slippery everything is. Because yeah, sweat plus cold equals 0 grip. He tightens his hold, trying not to let her fall back into the darkness below. For a second it works, then it doesn't. Her hand slips, just like that. No warning, no second chance. She drops back onto the lower platform, and his expression instantly shifts because yeah, that's exactly what they couldn't afford. The sound of her fall is enough. The zombies hear it. Heads turn. Targets locked. She freezes for a second, stunned, then looks up and sees them already reacting, already moving. That moment ends fast. The horde starts running straight toward her. He shouts her name from above, voice cutting through everything, telling her to get up. She snaps out of it, gets to her feet, and runs back toward him. He reaches down again, grabs her arm, this time with everything he's got, and pulls. Now it's a fight against time. She pushes up, he pulls down, both of them forcing it to work while the zombies close in. Then one of them grabs his leg from below, trying to drag him down with it. Perfect timing. She sees it, reacts instantly, and kicks the thing off hard enough to break its grip. The zombie drops back, and that split second is all they need. They climb up together. Behind them, the fallen zombie gets swarmed by the others, torn apart without hesitation. That's how close it was. He doesn't waste time processing it, just tells her to run. They move across the platform, finally with a bit of distance, and find a door leading up. That's their exit. They take it immediately and run up the stairs, leaving the lower level behind. But of course, nothing stays simple. At the top, a zombie appears out of nowhere and goes straight for him. He reacts in time, blocks the attack, and shoves it back with a solid hit. She watches, already ready to jump in, but he finishes it himself with the spear. Quick, efficient. Then he turns, already preparing for the next wave because yeah, there's always a next one. And here they come. Zombies pushing up the stairs, trying to catch them off guard. The pair doesn't wait. They move first, attacking as the monsters climb. One gets hit and screams, another gets pierced clean through by his spear. She steps in, showing she's not just keeping up, she's matching him. She lands hits, kicks one down, follows up with precision, finishing it properly. Another one rushes in, and they deal with it the same way. Hit, react, finish. No wasted movement. Just survival on repeat. After pushing through, they finally reach a safe room and shut themselves in. That's the first real pause they've had in a while. Both of them drop down, exhausted, breathing hard, letting the adrenaline fade just enough to feel how close that was. He says it too close, and she agrees, taking a deep breath like she's finally allowed to. He asks about outside, and she checks, saying there's nothing nearby for now. That's enough. He sits back, takes a breath, actually feeling the relief hit for a second. Then something clicks in his head. He looks at her leg, asks about it. She looks down and sees blood on her boot. That's when the panic starts. She doesn't even know when it happened, just that it's there, and her mind goes straight to the worst-case scenario. She tries to calm herself, but it's not working. Then she remembers something brushed against her leg during the fight. That's all it takes. Now she's thinking infection. He steps in immediately, tells her to relax, and checks it himself. Looks closely. It's small, just a scratch on the ankle. He tells her it's not a bite. That's the difference. Relief hits instantly, but she's still confused, asking if zombies now have claws too. He confirms it like it's just another update in the patch notes, and tells her not to worry. He got scratched before, and he's still fine. She asks him straight, "Are you sure?" And he doesn't hesitate. Calm face, steady voice, full confidence. He tells her she's fine and doesn't need to panic over a scratch. That confidence actually lands. You can see it. The tension in her face cracks, and she finally exhales like she was holding that breath for way too long. Then it hits her all at once. Relief, fear, everything. And she starts crying, admitting she really thought that was it for her. All that panic for a small scratch. Still, in this world, that's not an overreaction, that's survival math. He points out they were lucky to even find a first aid kit, even if it's half useless. No alcohol, no proper supplies, just the bare minimum, like someone already took the good stuff and left the leftovers. She agrees, it's still better than nothing. He notices the food's gone too, looted clean, and she guesses whoever came through didn't waste time. Quick grab, quick exit, makes sense. He suggests they rest and she agrees immediately because yeah, their bodies are running on fumes at this point. But just as things start calming down, he hears something, small, but enough. He turns, looks around, and spots something shining on the floor, a key, just sitting there like it got forgotten in all the chaos. He picks it up and you can see the shift. Finally, something useful. He even smiles and says at least now they won't have to stress about where to sleep. Then he starts searching properly, checking around like he actually knows what he's looking for. Complains a bit about messing things up earlier by rushing, then digs through a bookshelf and finds it, the station logbook. That's the real find. He flips through it, scanning fast, and there it is, a locker password written inside. Clean, simple, valuable. He walks to the locker, enters the code, and opens it without any struggle. She's just standing there watching this happen like he just unlocked a cheat code. She asks if he actually knew what he was doing, and he just smiles and confirms it. Then she asks how, and he drops it casually. He used to work in the subway before everything went to hell. That explains the confidence. He tells her the codes are always in the logbook. Standard system stuff. Basic knowledge if you lived that life. She asks what's inside, expecting something big, and he says it's mostly keys. But then he adds there's one thing that actually matters. He opens a wooden box and inside is a gas gun. Clean, real, not improvised. He explains that subway stations keep firearms for emergencies, robbery, attacks, situations exactly like this. Preparedness, just in case. Turns out just in case showed up. He hands her the box, telling her to keep it safe, but she immediately refuses. Says she's never used a gun and wouldn't know what to do with it. Fair. He doesn't push it, just takes it back, understands her hesitation, and stores it in his own backpack. No drama. Then he shows her the key he found earlier. She asks what it's for, and he hands it to her like it's her turn now. Says it's for the employee room. That gets her attention immediately. They find the room and she recognizes it right away, telling him to open it quickly. He uses the key, unlocks it clean, and the door opens. Both of them look at each other with that same expression, relief mixed with surprise, a real shelter. Finally, they step inside and she holds the door, making sure nothing follows them in. The room is small, not impressive, honestly worse than what she had before. But at this point, 4 walls and a door is luxury. Then they notice something in the corner, a pale figure covered with cloth. Instantly, tension spikes again. He's holding a drink in his hand ready, while she carefully approaches to check. The man lifts his head slightly, and that's enough to confirm it. He's gone. Not infected, just dead. Starvation. That's how he ended. Quietly. No fight, no noise, just done. She says it out loud, then apologizes while taking the clothes. Survival doesn't wait for permission. They take what they need, clothes, blankets, and settle in. For the first time in a while, they actually lie down somewhere that feels somewhat safe. She says it feels good to finally rest like this, and yeah, she's not wrong. He suggests taking the blankets with them later, and she wonders if they can even carry everything. He says they'll manage because right now food is the bigger problem and their bags are already getting lighter for the wrong reasons. He relaxes a bit, says he could fall asleep like this, and she tells him to get some rest. The clock on the wall shows around 1:30 a.m. and time just moves slowly again. No chaos, no running, just silence for once. But even in that moment, he's still thinking ahead. 2 days of food left, that's it. And the warehouse? That's not a goal anymore. That's a deadline. So now our guy opens the system again, scrolling like he's shopping during an apocalypse sale, and boom, winter clothes for 3 coins. Makes sense. It's freezing, the surface is basically a death fridge, and stepping outside without proper gear is just asking to become a popsicle zombie snack. He's got enough coins for both of them too, so logically, easy purchase, but nah, this guy pauses, finger hovering like it's a life or death checkout screen. Instead of buying, he backs off and decides to think it through. smart, or just overthinking like usual. Then he notices something new in the system. New items. Bro realizes this thing just dropped an update mid-apocalypse. No patch notes, no warning, just vibes. He scans through the options and immediately starts thinking how to abuse this properly. That's the mindset, survival gamer mode fully activated. They leave the subway station, stepping back into the snow-covered world where everything looks like it wants them dead. He wakes her up and she's like 5 more minutes, as if zombies respect sleep schedules. She drags herself up anyway, still half asleep, packing her stuff while yawning like this isn't the end of the world outside. Meanwhile, he's already locked in, telling her they need to move. Back in the tunnel, they run into an overturned vehicle blocking the tracks. Not random either. Placed there, someone did that intentionally. She climbs up to check what's on the other side, takes a peek, and instantly freezes. Yeah, not good news. She climbs back down and drops it. Dozens, maybe hundreds of zombies just stacked behind that blockade like it's a waiting room for death. Congratulations, that route is officially sealed. They check the other side of the tunnel, hoping for a miracle. Nothing. Same problem, same dead end. And now it hits. They're stuck. This is the only subway line to their destination. No alternate routes, no secret passage, nothing. Which means one thing, they have to go back to the surface, into the cold, into the wind, into zombie territory. Amazing. He doesn't waste time complaining. Says straight up, they need a way to mask their scent. Because if zombies can't smell you, you're basically invisible. They start searching the station again, hoping for something useful, anything. Then he stops. Brain clicks. You can literally see the idea hit. He opens the system again, serious mode on, and finds a new item. Explorer. Basically lets him search hidden items in the shop. That's broken. He buys it instantly, and now he's got access to a search bar like he's Googling survival. First thing he tries? Vaccine. Bro really said, let me just end the apocalypse real quick. Types it in. Nothing. No results. Tries different words. Still nothing. Yeah, no shortcut ending here. He sighs, but at least the item isn't consumed, so no loss there. Then he switches gears. Deodorizer. And this time, jackpot. The system actually finds one. A deodorizer that lasts for the journey. Basically anti-zombie perfume. He complains because all his coins are about to disappear again, but still buys it. Priorities. After purchase, he's down to 1 coin. Bro went from rich to broke in 2 taps. She sees the bottles and is immediately confused, asking where he even got those from. He just tells her to trust it and try. Worst case, they run back. Fair plan. They spray it, step out, and now it's the real test. Snow everywhere, wind hitting like it's personal, and a street sign pointing toward Udong, their destination. He tells her to move slow, stay sharp, no mistakes now. Then it happens. A zombie, right there, walking toward them. She immediately warns him, tension spikes, and they just stand there like statues. The zombie walks closer, closer, and then just passes them. No reaction, no sniff, no aggression, just vibes. They both freeze, trying to process what just happened. The zombie even turns slightly for a second, like it might notice, but nah, keeps walking, completely ignores them, and that's when it hits. The deodorizer actually worked. They just unlocked stealth mode. Relieved, the girl smiles like they just unlocked a cheat code and says the deodorizer actually works. And yeah, for once the system didn't scam them. The young man nods and tells her to stay focused because smelling like nothing is cool but dying is still very possible. They keep moving, and suddenly they spot a gun shop just sitting there untouched in the middle of the city. Jackpot. Nah, our guy immediately shuts that idea down. Anyone inside that place is 100% armed and probably not in the mood to share. Bro said, I like surviving, not speedrunning death, and keeps it moving. They pass a street sign pointing toward a food alley nearby, and soon after they finally spot Soyu Station, meaning they're getting close. He even admits he thought they'd already be in Udong by now, but yeah, turns out dodging zombies in a frozen city isn't exactly fast travel. Night's coming, so they split up to look for a place to stay. The girl quickly realizes most places are useless, broken windows everywhere, basically open invitations for zombies. Meanwhile, he tries a door, finds it locked, peeks inside, and immediately backs off after seeing silhouettes. Yeah, that's not shelter, that's a trap with extra steps. They regroup, both freezing, both tired and still homeless in a zombie apocalypse. He asks if she found anything, she says nothing useful, and honestly at this point even a broom closet would have been luxury. Then he spots a staircase and tells her to follow. They head up carefully, moving like every step might summon a boss fight. The place upstairs is surprisingly clean, no zombies in sight, which already feels suspiciously lucky. She tries another door, locked again. Of course, she gets frustrated and suggests breaking it, but he shuts that down instantly because yeah, smashing glass in zombie territory is basically ringing a dinner bell. Then he pauses, brain cooking again, tells her to wait, walks over to a mailbox like he just remembered some side quest detail. He stares at it, clenches his fist, and boom, pulls out a key like a magician. She's shocked, celebrating like they just pulled loot from a rare drop, and asks how he even knew. He casually explains that this place stays open late, so employees hide spare keys to avoid shift issues. Bro is out here using real-world logic like a veteran NPC. They unlock the door and step inside, and finally actual shelter. Inside, they find bags of flour stacked up, eggs still intact, basically untouched supplies. She's surprised, but he immediately says leave it for now, because carrying flour in a zombie apocalypse is just asking to die tired. She suggests hiding it instead, and he agrees. Smart. Secure the loot, come back later. While checking the place, he also finds a portable charger and a wristwatch. Small wins, but in this world that's basically treasure. They talk about reaching the warehouse the next day since they're down to just 4 chocolate bars, which is not exactly endgame supplies. She brings up the risk of meeting other people there, and yeah, at this point, humans are just as dangerous as zombies. So he suggests setting up a code word system. Now this is where it gets smart. She thinks for a second, and comes up with a whole communication strategy. If the enemy has long-range weapons, talk casually. If it's close combat, switch to polite speech. And if things go bad and they need to escape, just say senior. Clean, simple, low-key. He nods immediately. Solid plan. No shouting run like amateurs, just smooth brain plays. Then out of nowhere, lightning cracks across the sky while it's snowing. Yeah, nature itself is bugging. The whole room lights up, both of them looking outside like even the weather is trying to kill them. He says the snow's only going to pile up more, meaning tomorrow's going to be worse. Great. Love that optimism. She decides to sleep, just collapses on the table like her body gave up negotiating, while he stays up on watch duty. Time passes slow, quiet, tense, until he hears something. Immediately gets up, alert. Then a motorcycle zooms past outside, cutting through the snow like this is some action movie. Now that's weird. He watches carefully, wondering who in their right mind is riding around at night in a zombie apocalypse. Then he notices something worse. The motorcycle is heading in the same direction they're going. Suspicious level just went from 0 to max, and then, the rider suddenly stops. Yeah, this just got interesting. The young man narrows his eyes and immediately catches something off down below. That motorcyclist isn't just riding for fun, he's got a whole zombie fan club chasing him. A full horde pulling up like it's a parade, and the guy is right in the middle of it. Not struggling, not panicking, just there. Suspicious already. The girl wakes up from the noise, still half asleep, asking what's going on, and he quickly explains. His brain is already connecting dots. If even part of that horde sticks around, their area just got 10 times worse. Then he drops the real thought. What if that guy is dragging the zombies on purpose? Not running from them, leading them somewhere. That's not survival, that's strategy, or something worse. She immediately reminds him they don't have the luxury to sit and watch. Food's basically gone, waiting isn't an option, and going back is even worse. He agrees. No safe choices left, just less bad ones. Then something clicks again in his head and he pauses, processing new info like he just unlocked another hidden mechanic. She suggests checking the forums. And yeah, at this point the internet is basically their last NPC for info. They scroll through posts, people talking about the snowstorm, lightning during snowfall, like the world itself forgot its settings. Some mention hail, others just confused. Then things get darker. Someone asks about a shelter on Yanjong Island and another person straight up says the government is gone. Gone. Finished. Deleted. Both of them pause on that. That's not just bad news. That's game over for rescue hopes. Then it gets even weirder. A guy claims the shelter is actually a cult, not a safe haven. A trap, says he escaped. Another user calls it nonsense, questioning why strangers would give out food and clothes for free. The girl immediately calls it suspicious, and yeah, our guy agrees. Nothing in this world is free anymore, especially not kindness. He remembers that manager guy saying he was heading west, which lines up with that location, but still, too many red flags. They both silently agree. Ignore the shelter. Not worth gambling their lives on some mystery group. He's annoyed they didn't get anything useful about the motorcyclist, but no time to dwell. He pulls out the chocolate bars, final rations, and lays it out. This is it. One last push to the warehouse. No detours, no hesitation. They step out into the snow again, committing fully. If they see anything too dangerous, they bail immediately. That's the rule. Last chance run. Surprisingly, the streets aren't as packed with zombies as expected. Either they got lucky, or something pulled them away. The girl says they must be close now, but the fog is thick. Visibility trash. He's already worried about that, and worse, the deodorizer effect might be wearing off, which means if something spots them now, it's straight combat, no stealth cheat. Then she suddenly points ahead, and there it is, the warehouse. Finally. Both of them feel that instant relief like they just reached a checkpoint. He even gets a bit excited, thinking about supplies, food, maybe even real gear. But of course, nothing is that easy. She tries the gate locked, completely sealed, and she's confused because it used to be open. That's already a red flag. Then she notices something else. Barbed wire. New. That wasn't there before either. Now it's not just locked, it's fortified. He immediately goes quiet, analyzing. This isn't abandonment, this is control. Someone set this up. They start circling the place, looking for another way in. She scans the fence and spots a weak point, says she can jump it. Classic risky play. He stops her immediately, saying it's too dangerous to rush in blind, especially when that one weak spot looks way too convenient, like it's meant to be used. But at the same time, They've got no food, no repellent left, and no backup plan. Standing outside isn't an option either. She says it straight. The repellent's gone. That's it. Decision made. He exhales, accepts it, and agrees to take the risk, but warns her clearly, if there are people inside, it won't be friendly. Be ready to fight. She runs up, he boosts her, and she clears the fence clean. Lands inside, snow crunching under her feet, looking around cautiously. First impression empty. Quiet. Too quiet. He follows right after, jumping in to join her, both of them finally inside the warehouse grounds. She takes a breath, relieved they made it in, probably thinking they finally caught a break, and then gun to the head. Out of nowhere, someone steps up behind her, presses the barrel right against her, and tells her to raise her hands. Instant freeze. No hesitation. She complies immediately. So now the guy with the gun tightens control and tells her to call her partner inside through the front gate. Yeah, classic hostage move, use one to bait the other. Gun pressed to her head, no room for mistakes. But she doesn't panic, she plays it smart, uses their code, calls out Oppa in that specific tone, telling him to come to the front gate. Clean signal. Outside, the young man hears it and instantly understands. No hesitation. Long-range weapon. Single enemy. Situation decoded. His brain switches to combat mode immediately. He grabs his bag, pulls out the gas gun they picked up earlier. Finally time to use that thing. He shouts back that he's coming in, playing along. Inside, the captor tells her to make him drop his weapon. The young man walks in, throws his spear on the ground like he's surrendering, but mentally he's already 5 steps ahead. He knows it's one gunman, or at least that's what it looks like. He turns, shows his hands, no weapon visible, playing the part perfectly. The guy orders him forward. He walks slowly, measuring distance. That gas gun, short range. He needs to get close. Every step matters. He even shouts, saying he already dropped his weapon and telling the guy to release her. Of course, the captor ignores him. Typical. Then it flips. The captor shoves the girl forward slightly, and that's the moment. She shouts no, their signal. Instant green light. The young man pulls out the gas gun and fires. No hesitation. The captor is caught off guard. Didn't expect him to have a second weapon. Fires back immediately. Shots crack through the snow. One grazes the young man. Pain hits, but he holds his ground. No panic, just focus. The captor keeps firing, even shoots into the air, probably trying to intimidate, but all he's doing is ringing the dinner bell for every zombie nearby. Bro really said let me call backup, but forgot zombies don't pick sides. Meanwhile, she doesn't waste a second, uses the chaos, dives straight at him, grabs his arm, stops him from firing again. Clean move. She disarms him. Gun drops into the snow. Just like that, the advantage flips. The young man yells, pointing at his bag, then throws a repellent can straight at the guy. Perfect distraction. But now it's worse. Gunshots already echoed everywhere. Zombies are coming. Fast. The young man realizes it immediately. This fight just turned into a countdown. He shouts for her to grab the gate key. That's the only way out. She goes for it, but the guy on the ground fights back, holding onto the key like his life depends on it. She struggles, trying to rip it away while he resists. Time is running out. Zombies getting closer. He warns her, they don't have time, and that's when she ends it. Straight kick, right between the legs. No hesitation, no mercy. Guy drops completely done. She grabs the key and runs to the gate, trying to unlock it, but then, worst timing possible. The key doesn't work. Yeah, wrong key. Panic hits instantly. Zombies are already pulling up, closing in. No reset button, no second chance. The young man jumps in, grabs his spear and starts fighting. First zombie rushes in. He strikes, but the thing grabs the spear mid-fight. Stronger than expected. That's new. That's bad. He pushes it back with everything he's got, barely creating space. And now it hits him. They might not get out of this one. Right after pushing one zombie back, another one launches at him like it's been waiting for its turn. He grips the spear, squares up, and here comes round 2. The thing charges in with its mouth wide open, rotten teeth on full display like it's already celebrating the kill. For a split second he freezes, but only a second. Then he locks back in, and then everything goes wrong at once. He loses grip on his weapon. It drops. Without wasting a moment, zombie rushes towards him, but he somehow dodges. The zombie slams into the glass door nearby, the impact echoing through the warehouse. On the ground, pinned, he braces himself, knowing what's about to happen. And then timing flips. She finally breaks the padlock. The gate opens. And right as the zombie is about to finish him, something hits it hard. She yells for him to move. Doors open. This is their only chance. No hesitation now. He scrambles up. Both of them sprint straight inside like their lives depend on it, because they do. They get in, and she immediately struggles to shut the door while the zombies pile up outside, smashing against the glass like they're trying to break in for revenge. Hands slamming, growls filling the air, but the door holds. Barely. She locks it fast. Chain, padlock, everything. Done. Temporary safety. Both of them just breathe for a second, checking each other. He asks if she's okay, she confirms, and he just drops to the floor for a moment, processing how close that just was. Gunshots definitely pulled the horde, no doubt about that. Then they hear something behind them, one of the looters on the ground complaining, holding his face, saying his eyes are burning. Yeah, that gas wasn't for decoration. He suggests bringing the guy inside, and she agrees. No hesitation, she lifts him up and carries him in. Respect. Then he turns and freezes. Because the looter was none other than assistant manager Choi. The same guy, crying, shaking, glasses in hand, completely broken. Bro went from threat to emotional damage in seconds. She asks if it's the same guy from before, and he confirms it. Didn't expect this reunion at all. The guy tries to wipe his eyes, but the protagonist stops him immediately. Gas effect is still active. Touching it wrong will just make it worse. Choi gets annoyed, but at this point he knows he messed up. He even admits it, says if he knew it was them he wouldn't have attacked, takes the blame straight up. That's rare. The protagonist accepts it. No drama, no shouting, just moves on. Choi calms down a bit, puts his glasses back on, and then casually picks up a kettle and offers them tea like they didn't just try to kill each other 5 minutes ago. Honestly, peak apocalypse behavior. Warm drink hits different in this cold. She takes a sip and you can see the relief immediately. They sit down, finally able to talk without trying to kill each other. He asks when Chio got here 3 days ago. Turns out he came because of the warehouse's solar panels. He was installing them when he spotted the two of them approaching earlier. That explains a lot. The young man even remembers how she wanted to keep the panels before and now he realizes leaving them wasn't a mistake after all. Chio explains he was planning to protect the panels with glass and already has materials for it. So yeah, this place isn't just random, it's actually set up for survival. Then comes the real question. Supplies. Does he have enough? Chio says construction materials. Plenty. Food? Not so much. That's the problem. She immediately connects the dots. Section 2, right? And he confirms. That's where the food stock is. But the roof collapsed under the snow, so he couldn't get everything. Still, the cold actually preserved the food so it's not spoiled. With help, they can recover it. The young man sets his cup down slowly, expression serious now, because this just turned into their next mission. The young man finally asks the real question. Can they stay here? Not in a confident tone either. Bro's a little nervous, because right now this warehouse is literally the only safe spot they've got. Manager Choi goes quiet for a second, thinking it through and then agrees. Says straight up, it's better to have allies than get wiped out alone. That's survival logic right there, and just like that, tension drops. The pair instantly relax, relief hitting hard, but then Choi flips it. Turns out he was actually thinking the same thing. He even admits it awkwardly, scratching the back of his neck like yeah, after what just happened, defending this place solo isn't happening. Looters will come eventually, and one guy isn't holding this down forever. Having reliable teammates? That's the real win. The young man thanks him, and now it's official. They've got a base. Then Choi casually drops that zombies are still roaming outside. The girl is surprised, thinking they would have dispersed by now. But nope, they're still out there, just waiting. Great. Constant neighbors. Choi then asks about the gas gun. The young man explains he got it from a police officer who chose to end things before turning. That hits different. He took it to survive, not to play hero. Choi nods, explains he also had a gun but burned through the bullets too fast. And now? Empty. No ammo left. Just a metal stick at this point. The young man is clearly annoyed. That would have been clutch right now. Then suddenly, silence breaks with a loud growl. Yeah, his stomach. Not even subtle. Straight betrayal. Everyone hears it. Choi looks at them like, you guys starving or what? And without wasting time, cut to a pot of ramen cooking on a portable stove. Steam rising, smell probably hitting like a blessing from heaven. Both of them just stare at it like it's the final boss reward. Choi smiles and says he'll cook and they can eat as much as they want. Bro instantly upgraded from enemy to MVP. And then she remembers the beer cans. Pulls them out like hidden loot, celebrating like she just found legendary items. The young man's all in. Choi's surprised they even had that. Now it's not just survival, it's a full meal. They sit down together, 3 survivors who almost killed each other earlier, now sharing food like it's normal. The young man grabs noodles with his chopsticks, blows on them, takes that first bite, and yeah, you can see it. Instant heaven. No exaggeration needed. Hot food after days of cold survival hits different. He eats like he hasn't seen real food in years, completely locked in. The girl's the same, saying the broth feels like it's warming her soul. That's not even poetic, that's just facts right now. Choi lifts his beer mug and suggests a toast before it gets cold. They all agree, raise their mugs and toast to survival, to new allies, and honestly, to ramen. Because right now, that's carrying their entire morale. They eat everything, not a single noodle left. The young man leans back, completely satisfied, saying he forgot what it even feels like to be full. The girl agrees, same feeling, full stomach, warm body, safe shelter, for once everything actually feels okay. After all the running, fighting, freezing, feels like peace. Then reality hits again. The warmth starts fading fast, and our guy immediately notices it, low-key annoyed like bro, we just ate and already back to freezing? The girl asks about heating, hoping there's at least some system running, but Choi shuts that down instantly. Power's dead, everything's dead, no heating, nothing. Songjin Song backs it up, saying without electricity it's impossible, and just to make it worse, it's only going to get colder from here. Then Choi casually drops the final boss info. Forums are saying it's already around -35 degrees. Yeah, this isn't winter anymore. This is survival DLC. So now the mood shifts from nice meal back to we might actually die from cold. Our guy tries to think but comes up blank since this company doesn't deal with electronics. Then Choi suddenly remembers something, a brazier hidden somewhere in the warehouse. Basically a makeshift stove. The second he says it, both of them light up like they just unlocked a side quest reward. That's heat. That's survival. But of course, problem. Firewood. Choi already checked, Nothing useful. The girl points out their plastic clothes are useless for burning, which is obvious, but still hurts to hear. And then boom, she gets the idea. There's a forest behind the warehouse. The guys pause for a second, like, wait, what? And she explains the trees are probably dead because of the cold, which means perfect fuel. Now that's a real plan. No hesitation, our guy throws on his backpack like, yeah, we moving. As they walk through the warehouse, Choi starts giving a full tour like it's some shopping mall apocalypse edition. First floor daily necessities, second floor clothing, and the moment he hears that, our guy is smiling like crazy. Forget weapons, forget zombies, bro just wants to brush his teeth. Priorities are different now. Third floor is household stuff, fourth is kitchen supplies, fifth is basically useless office junk, and basement is a garage. Then the MC asks the real question. Winter clothes. Choi confirms there's a lot of it. Just need to grab it later. Easy. But then something clicks in the MC's head. He hasn't seen shoes anywhere. Choi nods, saying he tried stacking socks but it was straight up uncomfortable. Then he casually drops his shoe size, 270. And that right there triggers the MC's system brain. Without saying much, he opens the shop and buys winter boots for 3 coins. Just like that, pulls them out of his backpack like it's normal. Even though, yeah, items literally materializing out of thin air. He hands them over, acting like, yeah, I just had extras lying around. Sure bro, totally normal. Choi tries them on. Perfect fit. Instant upgrade. Warm, insulated, comfortable. The man looks like he just found salvation. And right then, system notification pops up. New party member added. And our guy connects the dots immediately. Give someone an item, they join your party, and their coins become yours. Yeah, that's broken. That's actually insane. But no time to flex, they keep moving, and finally find the brazier. Choi confirms it's safe for indoor use, which is huge, and our guy grabs it like it's the most valuable item in the building. Mission complete. They head back, carrying it like treasure. Back at their spot, things calm down again. And then the MC remembers, Choi used to smoke, and you already know where this is going. He pulls out something from his bag, smirking like he's about to drop the rarest item in the game. Says there's one thing this warehouse definitely doesn't have. Choi's confused, until he sees it. Cigarettes, and bro completely loses it. Instant reaction. Says he hasn't had one since everything went to hell. That's how you know it's serious. As thanks for the ramen, the MC offers the pack, and Choi takes a few like they're gold bars. Legit grateful. And just like that, the vibe changes again. The MC smiles and says now it actually feels like a community. Not just survivors. A group. Choi gets emotional. No joke, even blushes a bit, and pulls him into a hug like, yeah, this is real now. Then he tells him to call him senior to keep things casual. From strangers, to teammates, to something closer. And all it took, boots, ramen, and a pack of cigarettes. Meanwhile, while the two guys are out there grinding like it's a survival side quest, the girl is already inside doing something way more important. Setting up a proper kitchen like this is MasterChef Apocalypse Edition. Bowls neatly arranged, everything organized, priorities straight. Then the boys return carrying the brazier like they just looted a legendary item, and our MC casually flexes a little extra loot, 2 heavy winter jackets. The moment she sees those, it's over. Instant happiness unlocked. And he's not done yet. Soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, basic stuff, but in this world, that's luxury. The girl straight up squeals and jumps him with a hug, pure gratitude, no hesitation, then immediately runs off to use her new gear like hygiene just became her life mission. The guys just stand there watching like, yeah, she's way too happy but honestly fair. Fast forward 3 days, and now this place actually looks like people live here. Manager's old office, converted into a full-on kitchen. Next room, 3 mattresses and sleeping bags. Boom, bedroom unlocked. It's not pretty, but it's safe. It's warmish, and most importantly, it's theirs. Snow's still going crazy outside, so solar panels are basically useless. 0 sunlight, 0 charge. Nature said not today. But slowly, the zombies that were camping outside finally start wandering off like NPCs losing aggro. From the window, the girl reports the area is almost clear, and the trio gathers up to confirm it. Warehouse secured, stable, almost safe. And that's when the MC's face changes. No jokes now. He drops the next objective, time to go outside again. First priority, weapons. That store they saw earlier is the target. The girl agrees, but she's not dumb. She reminds him straight up that trip is going to be hell. Distance zombies, cold, everything stacked against them. He knows it too. No coins to skip fights, no vehicle to escape, no cheat codes this time, just raw survival. Then the story cuts to that motorcycle noise from before. Yeah, that wasn't random. Picture of a single zombie, then boom, next image, an entire horde flooding the street like a nightmare wave. Then we saw a new guy on the bicycle stuck in that swarm. This guy's from Bangkok Dong, completely caught off guard and had to freestyle his escape. Climbs snowy stairs on a bicycle, pushing like his life's on a timer because it is. Looks back, massive horde chasing him non-stop. And then he sees it, the same motorcycle our guys noticed. At first he thinks it's just another survivor trying to live. Big mistake. Those riders, they're not running from the horde, they're leading it. Yeah, actual psychopath behavior. Herding zombies like it's a game, pushing them toward populated areas. The guy realizes it mid-escape and immediately sends out a warning. They're heading to Udong. Back in the warehouse, things get serious again. No more comfort arc. They split responsibilities like a real team now. Hansana takes control of inventory and organization, basically running logistics. She's focused, moving efficiently, until Choi shows up asking if she needs help. She's a bit surprised but nods. He mentions he just checked the solar generator, still useless because the sky refuses to cooperate. Clouds everywhere. No charge, no power. She hands him a box and puts him to work. Kitchen duty. Meanwhile, our MC, patrol mode, flashlight in hand, walking through the warehouse like security guard DLC, checking every corner, planning ahead. Eventually, he finds the two of them in the stockroom, both working together. Quick check-in, casual talk, but the situation is still bad. Generator useless, weather trash, and then the real problem drops. Batteries, all dead. No backup, no recharge. And that's it. The moment hits. And after some minutes, we saw our guy outside with a bicycle, fully equipped, face cover, hood up, ready for go out. The mood is already tense. The girl asked that is it necessary to go out alone? And our guy doesn't sugarcoat it. If their base gets compromised while he's out, it's over. Full wipe, no respawn. Clean game over. But of course, to ease the tension a bit, he flexes the upgraded weapon his partner made like, bro, look at this craftsmanship. I'm built for this. He grabs his bike, says his goodbyes and promises to come back with an induction stove and an actual weapon upgrade. Bro is treating this like a supply run quest with objectives and rewards. Choi hands him a rope for carrying the stove and even gives him a backup note like a real NPC giving side mission instructions. They all tell him to be careful, like yeah, don't die, that would be inconvenient. He promises he'll dip immediately if things go south, no hero complex today. Then he notices the chains on the bike tires installed by the girl. Smart move, extra grip in snow, less slipping. He gives her props because yeah, that's actually clutch. And just like that, he rides out alone into the frozen nightmare. Streets dead quiet, too quiet, not a single walker in sight, which somehow feels worse. His instincts are screaming that something's off. Apartment complex nearby? Yeah, definitely suspicious. He keeps moving, passes a gate, keeps pedaling carefully like one wrong move and it's GG. Then he spots a school ahead and connects the dots. The apartment area must be nearby. Wind hits hard, but luckily it's behind him, so at least he's not fighting it. Still, he speeds up because standing out here longer than necessary is basically asking to get jumped. And then, he smells something. Exhaust fumes. Weird. In this frozen dead city, that's not normal. He tracks the source and sees a wrecked car, but the direction of the smell doesn't make sense. Something's off. Then he hears it. That engine. He looks up and there it is. A motorcycle heading straight toward him. He stops his bike, watching it approach. Tension rising instantly. Something about it feels wrong. The sound is too quiet, too muffled, like it's been tuned to avoid attention. And then he sees it. Behind the bike, silhouettes. Dozens of them. That's when it clicks. This isn't a guy escaping. This is a guy leading. The motorcycle is literally dragging a horde behind it like some twisted shepherd, and our MC just accidentally stepped into the worst possible timing. Headlight cuts through the fog, revealing a literal wave of walkers coming straight at him. And now he's just standing there like, yeah, I messed up. No time to process. He turns and starts pedaling like his life depends on it because it does. Fast. Desperate. But the chains and thick snow are slowing him down. What was an advantage 5 minutes ago is now holding him back. Classic. He forces himself to calm down mid-escape, trying to think while a full horde is sprinting at him like unpaid rent collectors. One glance back. Yeah, they're gaining. Fast. Now it's panic mode. He needs cover. Immediately. And then memory kicks in. That school he passed earlier. That's it. That's the only option. He pushes harder, legs screaming, lungs burning, but he doesn't stop. He reaches the school, jumps off, runs to the door. Locked. Of course it's locked. He shoves it again and again, like bro open up, I'm about to die here, but nothing. Door doesn't even move. Meanwhile, the horde is seconds away from turning him into lunch. No time left. He ditches the bike completely and runs along the side of the building, scanning like crazy for any way in. Because right now, it's not about winning. It's about not getting caught. Bro runs along the school wall like his life's on fast forward, and finally spots another door, hope unlocked for about 2 seconds. He slams his whole body into it like yeah, open up right now. But surprise, it's locked too. Of course it is. Every door in this apocalypse got better security than banks. Now the horde is closing in, and he's stuck outside like a tutorial character who skipped instructions. Plan B activates instantly. The windows. Yeah, he opens the window somehow, throws his backpack inside first like priorities, then vaults through right after it. Clean entry, last second escape, but before he can celebrate, he feels something on his feet. That was a walker grabbing his leg. Like, bro, do you really think you are safe now? And he immediately starts kicking like crazy, trying to shake it off. But nah, this one's built different. Grip doesn't loosen, jaw wide open, locked in like it signed a contract with his leg. The creature screams, tightening its hold, and now it's turning into a full-on tug of war. Our guy switches to pure violence mode, starts stomping its face again and again, face getting crushed, bones probably gone, but this thing still refuses to let go. At this point, it's just disrespectful. He's yelling, pissed, fully done with this nonsense, and realizes, yeah, this one's not letting go unless it's forced to. Then he grabs his weapon and starts pushing violently the zombie with it. Finally, the grip loosens. The impact sends him stumbling backward, and he just drops to the floor, completely drained. Breathing heavy, chest rising like bro just fought for his entire existence because he did. But the zombie, still twitching. He looks at it like, seriously? You're still moving? Annoyed, he walks up and finishes it off, and right then, new problem. The windows. Dozens of hands start slamming against the glass. Loud, aggressive, non-stop. The horde found him, faces pressed against the window, dead eyes locked on him like, yeah, we know you're in there. He steps back slowly, breathing heavy, realizing just how close he was to becoming their next meal. Outside, absolute chaos. Inside, not much better. Completely exhausted, he just drops down and sits there on the floor, staring at nothing for a second while the zombies keep banging outside like unpaid debts. Meanwhile, back at the warehouse, the girl is out here acting like she just unlocked legendary loot because of those boots. Finally warm and not suffering, while manager Choi walks up and casually asks if she's really that worried about their guy. And yeah, she admits it straight. The darkness is messing with her head, but Choi hits her with calm confidence, saying the young man will be fine, like bro really said trust your OP teammate, and she actually believes it. Small smile and all, full faith mode activated. For a moment they just stand there in silence, staring into the dark like two survivors pretending everything isn't completely messed up. Then Choi pulls out his phone like it's some rare artifact and says it's got 8% battery, basically endgame resources, and suggests turning it on for a quick info check. She hesitates because yeah, 8% in Apocalypse is basically life support, but he's like relax, power saving mode, we squeeze 10 minutes out of this. Min-max mindset. They huddle up over the screen and notice it's a bit brighter outside, then jump into a forum post where someone's late to the party, asking if walkers react to blood smell. Another user clowns him saying go read the main page, you're behind, while these two are like yeah we already knew, skip next. Meanwhile, our MC is still roaming the school solo with a flashlight like it's a horror game side quest, finding absolutely nothing, empty rooms, zero loot, just vibes. Back at the warehouse, they finally find something spicy. A post about walker variants, and now both of them lean in because this sounds bad already. The post says climbing walkers were already a problem, but now there are giant ones too, and not just big, we're talking superhuman level, some over 2 meters tall, basically boss fight material. Cut to MC sitting alone in a classroom, reading this and instantly shooting up like nah that's illegal, because yeah this just escalated from survival to nightmare difficulty. Back at the warehouse, both of them are equally stunned, even questioning if skeletons are evolving now like great, not only are they dead they're upgrading too. Battery is on life support at this point, so they decide one last post before the phone dies. Classic risky move, and boom, they land on something about a walker horde. The girl's tone flips instantly, panic kicking in as she reads, but right before she can finish, the phone dies. Timing couldn't be worse. She yells out what she caught, that the horde is moving from Banghak Dong to Yua Dong, and Choi's face just drops because guess what? That's exactly where their guy went. No hesitation, she bolts for the exit like she's about to solo the apocalypse, but Choi grabs her arm and shuts that down immediately, and she's yelling that they have to go save him before he walks straight into that mess. But Choi hits her with reality, says he's seen it, and it's massive, not some small group you can fight. If he runs into that, there won't even be anything left to find. That lands hard. Now she's pacing around in those new boots, anxiety through the roof, while Choi steps in serious mode and tells her it's already too late to do anything. She turns on him like what do you mean too late, and he explains calmly that he checked the timestamp. The post was from 4:20 in the morning, meaning that horde should already be reaching the area right now. That realization hits like a truck. She freezes for a second, then her expression changes completely, panic turning into determination, saying if that's the case then they hold their ground, no running, no stupid moves, they protect the warehouse. Shuai agrees instantly. Priority is clear now. Don't let that horde pass. Don't lose the shelter. He reminds her that their guy trusted them with this place, basically telling her, don't betray that trust by acting reckless. That steadies her. She apologizes for snapping and promises to protect the warehouse no matter what. Cut back to the school. Our MC still moving through those dead silent halls, flashlight in hand, full alert mode, when suddenly a noise comes from the next room. He stops, focuses, and slowly moves closer, wondering if it's a walker, or maybe, just maybe, another survivor. Heart pounding, our guy creeps toward the door like he already knows this is about to be bad, peeks through the crack, scans the dark room, and boom, there's a kid just standing in the middle of the classroom. For a second he thinks maybe it's a survivor left behind, which is already suspicious because bro, in this world nothing stands quietly in the dark for free. Still, he steps in, calls out, tries to help, but then he notices the shirt, dark red stains, not ketchup, definitely not okay, and the kid's wearing thin clothes in freezing conditions. Yeah, that's already screaming bad decision incoming. Next second, the kid's head twists in a way no human spine signed up for, eyes empty, hungry, and yeah, not a kid, just a small-sized nightmare. The thing lunges, claws out, no hesitation, and our MC doesn't even flinch, just swings the weapon handle clean and precise. One hit, lights out, no drama. The body drops, system pops up, +1 coin, like congratulations. He looks at the body for a second and quietly apologizes because yeah, this world is messed up, then moves on, now sitting at 3 coins total. He keeps searching the school, but finds absolutely nothing useful, just empty rooms and disappointment, basically a loot desert, and he finally accepts it. This place is trash, nothing worth carrying. So he picks a classroom, rolls out his sleeping bag, and just lies there staring out the window like bro really went from survival mode to existential crisis in 5 minutes. He wishes the snow would stop, wishes the horde would disappear, like yeah, same bro, but that's not how this game works. His thoughts drift to his partner, remembering how she insisted he bring the sleeping bag and food, and he actually smiles, realizing she carried harder than he admitted. Wrapped up, still cold, but at least not freezing to death, he starts feeling a bit safe for once. Then reality hits again. Warehouse partners. That horde moving toward Dong. Yeah, peace was temporary. He tries to sleep, but his brain is running faster than zombies on fresh blood. No chance. So he just gets up, decision made, he's heading back, no waiting around, checks the time, gets ready. He snacks on a chocolate bar like it's premium energy fuel, gearing up for the trip, then notices a nearby building that looks off. Curiosity kicks in, and yeah, curiosity in apocalypse is always dangerous, but he still goes in, flashlight up. Inside, everything's wrecked, full panic escape vibes. People didn't leave nicely, they ran. He spots a baseball bat, decent weapon, considers taking it, but nah, inventory full. Man's managing weight like a survival pro, instead grabs a few baseballs, thinking distraction plays, smart move. Then of course, Shadow jumps him, because this world hates quiet moments. The creature charges, and he immediately grabs the bat he just saw. Swings clean, solid hit, down it goes, another +1 coin, system stays consistent at least. He checks around, finds a gas stove, but it's not the induction one they actually need. Unlucky, and the fridge and oven are just sitting there mocking him because yeah, try carrying that on a bike. So he accepts it. Nothing useful here. Time to go deeper into the city. He grips the bike, locks in mentally, and heads out. The ride actually goes smooth for once. Bike still working, no breakdown drama. And as the sun starts rising, he reaches the city and immediately sees a horde chilling like it owns the place. He stops, thinks, then lifts the bike onto his back and climbs onto a car to get a better view. Man really said parkour with extra weight, scans the area, spots the tallest apartment building, and decides that's the target, because high ground always feels safer even when it's not. Back on the street, broken glass everywhere, clear signs someone fought here recently, not a peaceful zone. He carries the bike up the stairs, step by step, guessing there was a serious fight here before, then finally sets it down and exhales. Small relief, slightly safer, at least for now. Flashlight in hand, our guy starts climbing the apartment like he's defusing a bomb with every step, holding the railing so it doesn't even dare make a sound, because yeah, one wrong noise and it's over. He reaches the top floor and actually relaxes for half a second since not a single walker showed up. Rare win, then moves to apartment 21 and gently tests the handle, feels it give a little but he already knows forcing it the normal way is just gonna scream free food to every zombie nearby. So he drops the stealth act, pulls out the sledgehammer, takes a breath and goes for it. One clean, heavy strike straight to the lock, crack echoes, lock shatters, door swings open like it just gave up on life, and he steps inside ready for anything. The place is completely wrecked, furniture messed up, everything screaming panic exit. People didn't leave, they ran but no walkers inside, so he finally gets a moment to actually search properly. And then jackpot, he finds an induction stove, exactly what they needed. Man really hit the side quest reward. He picks it up, checks it, and immediately realizes the cord is too short. Classic inconvenience, but he doesn't panic, looks around, finds a washing machine, and just decides, yeah, your cord is mine now. Problem solved. Now tired from everything, he decides to rest for a bit before heading back, drops onto a soft bed and just melts into it for a second, joking to himself like, yeah, I could stay here forever. Finally some comfort in this cursed world. And obviously the world takes that personally, because a loud crash suddenly hits, snapping him awake. He freezes, listens, eyes darting toward the window, slowly gets up and checks, and what he sees is straight up nightmare fuel. Walkers climbing the building walls like they unlocked new movement mechanics. Then it clicks. That crash wasn't random. Something fell from above. He looks up and spots another survivor in one of the windows. And yeah, bad timing, because the walkers see them too, and instantly start gathering below like it's a free buffet. He knows he can't help, just watches it happen. Low-key regret but nothing he can do, and instead realizes this chaos might be his only escape chance. He's about to move when suddenly gunshot, sharp and loud, cuts through everything. He looks toward the source and sees a blonde woman in a window across, casually sniping walkers like it's target practice. Shells dropping, shots echoing, and she's not missing. Now he's impressed but also stressed, because every shot is basically ringing a dinner bell for every walker in the area. And right on cue, more and more of them start converging toward the building, turning the place into a death magnet. He's just standing there like, yeah, this is insane, realizing she's been doing this for over an hour. But watching closer, her aim is clean, controlled, professional level, switching from rifle to pistol like it's nothing, not wasting a single shot. He even thinks she might be military trained, and yeah, judging by the performance, not a crazy guess. At the same time, he's thinking about all those kills like, yeah, that's a lot of coins I'm not getting. Then reality hits again. She's loaded with weapons, ammo, and skill, while he's stuck in this apartment with a growing horde outside. So he decides to wait it out, because there's no way this many walkers clear out quickly, at least a full day before things calm down. And just when it couldn't get worse, a massive roar shakes everything. He looks outside again, and yep, another horde just formed right in front of the building. Man's tired, annoyed, and just done at this point. Like, do these things ever stop spawning? Then suddenly, silence. The sniper stops firing, and somehow that's even worse. That quiet hits different, heavy, unsettling. Now he's stuck with 1 day of food, surrounded by hordes, no clear escape, and yeah, now he regrets not leaving earlier when he had the chance. He lies back on the bed, trying to sleep, but his mind is running non-stop, situation replaying again and again. He checks the time, past 1 a.m., and yeah, sleep is not happening tonight. His mind drifts straight back to his friends. The moment it hits him that the horde was heading toward the warehouse, his brain just betrays him, throws him into a nightmare where they're getting completely overwhelmed, no escape, just chaos, and he snaps awake like his body rejected that ending. To distract his brain from going full panic mode, he opens the system shop, starts scrolling through items, but most of it is stuff he already has back at the warehouse. Nothing special, nothing worth risking his life for, until he sees it, a random box for 10 coins. And now his brain locks in on it like it's the most important thing in existence. Curiosity hitting him hard, like he really feels he needs to know what's inside to decide if this whole fight is even worth it. And right when he's stuck in that thought, boom, a massive explosion lights up the entire city, snapping him out of it instantly. He rushes to the window, trying to figure out what just happened, wondering if it's the same lunatics blowing up infrastructure again. Then he looks down and sees it. The walkers are moving, all of them shifting south toward the explosion like moths to a flame. And just like that, he realizes this is it, the chance he's been waiting for. No hesitation, he grabs his bag, picks up the induction stove, and starts moving. He heads down the stairs carefully, slow and quiet, because now is not the time to mess up, pauses for a second to catch his breath, then keeps going. Once at the bottom, he straps the stove onto his bike using the rope his partners gave him, secure and tight, no mistakes. He pushes the bike forward carefully, trying to stay unseen, then steps outside, and of course a few walkers are still hanging around like unpaid guards. He just stands there annoyed, like seriously, you guys didn't get the memo to leave? He considers fighting them, but pauses, thinking it through, and then, out of nowhere, the sniper shows up at the entrance. He recognizes her instantly, and she's already moving, rifle in hand, serious expression, no time wasted. She runs straight toward him, and for a second he's like, yeah, this might be the end, but nope, she passes right by and slams her rifle into a walker, dropping it instantly, then squares up ready to deal with the rest. Clean, efficient, no hesitation, and he's just watching like, yeah, definitely not a normal survivor. She steps on the downed walker's head to keep it in place, then finally turns toward him, hand raised to show she's not here to fight, but still not lowering her weapon either, just in case. She asks if he's alone, or if he has people waiting for him somewhere, and he immediately plays it safe, drops his sledgehammer to look harmless, while secretly keeping his pistol hidden, raises his hands, says he's alone, and doesn't want any trouble. She studies him for a second, then finally lowers her rifle, tension easing just a bit. She says it's been a long time since she's seen another survivor, and offers her hand, and yeah, that's about as friendly as it gets in this world. They shake hands, forming a temporary alliance, both still cautious. She points out that inside the complex, it's relatively clear, but outside the streets are packed, no easy escape, and suggests they sit down and rest for a moment. He agrees, because honestly both of them need it. They sit on the stairs and she keeps watching him closely, like she's trying to read everything about him in one glance. Silence hangs there for a second before she asks if he's been surviving alone this whole time. He doesn't answer directly, instead flips the question back on her, not trusting her enough yet to open up. Her expression shifts, gets serious, a bit heavy, and she explains she used to have army companions, but they all went their separate ways. That hits different, and now he understands she's been on her own for a while. She continues, saying their base on the outskirts got overrun by a massive wave of walkers, and you can tell that memory still burns. He offers some sympathy, keeps it simple, and she reacts with a flash of anger, saying it all happened because of one person, clearly tying it back to that explosion. Then she asks him where he's heading, and that catches him off guard. He hesitates for a second, then admits it. He was on his way to a gun shop, and yeah, that answer surprises her. He explains it straight. In this world, a gun isn't optional. It's survival 101. And the sniper immediately agrees. Not just for walkers, but for people too, which already tells you she's seen enough nonsense from humans to rank them right next to zombies. She studies him for a second like she's evaluating a teammate, then asks if he can actually shoot, and he hits her with a confident smile, not overdoing it, just enough to say, yeah, I'm not useless. She nods, opens her bag and casually pulls out another rifle and boxes of ammo like she's running a mobile armory, lays it all out between them and asks if that's enough for him. He explains he only needs it to lure walkers, not start a war, and she gets it, no questions asked. He thanks her, clearly relieved, while she says she wishes she could give more ammo, which is crazy because she already handed over a whole setup. Then she looks at him again, curious, asks where he's heading now, and he pauses for a second, then gives a clean answer, says he's looking for a safer base to settle in. That's when she drops it, invites him to join her. Out of nowhere, Man didn't even finish processing the last situation, and now he's getting a co-op request. He's immediately suspicious because yeah, in this world nobody just offers partnership for free. But after thinking it through, he accepts because her skills are way too valuable to ignore. They gear up, stove tied to the bike, and start moving back toward the warehouse, walking side by side through the snow, and he keeps glancing at her like, yeah, she's built different. A few walkers show up, but she handles them like it's routine, clean and effortless, and he straight up admits he'd hate to have her as an enemy, which is just facts. They keep moving, reach another neighborhood, and she casually says thanks to his navigation they've already made it to Samundong, like, okay, teamwork actually working. He suggests a short break. They find an abandoned coffee shop, rest, eat a bit, recharge, no drama for once. Then they get ready to move again, planning to scavenge for food on the way back. Everything's smooth, until a gunshot cuts through the silence. Both of them drop instantly into cover, and she immediately identifies it. Suppressed weapon, which means whoever's shooting knows exactly what they're doing. Her mood flips instantly. She runs outside ready to fight, no hesitation, while he's just trying to figure out who these people are and why they're suddenly involved. She's already shouting, rifle up, ready to return fire, and he runs after her, yelling her name, sliding into cover behind a car with her. He demands answers, like who are these guys? What's going on? And they peek out carefully when one of the shooters yells Kelly. So yeah, now we got names, and from a rooftop nearby, 2 foreign soldiers start firing and ordering them to surrender like they own the place. She loses it instantly, furious, ready to shoot back, and he's trying to stop her, telling her if she fires that rifle they're basically summoning a zombie army. Too late, bullets start shredding the car, glass explodes, he shields his face, while they keep firing non-stop, pinning her down in the open. She returns fire anyway, using the car as cover, not backing down at all. He's yelling at her to stop because this noise is going to bring every walker in the area, but she fires back at him instead, saying she will never surrender and she's not going back there. That hits different. He grabs her, asks what she's talking about, and she breaks, tears in her eyes, says those men assaulted her. That shuts everything down for a second. He's shocked, asks if she's telling the truth, and she snaps back asking if he really thinks she'd lie about something like that in this situation. He doesn't have proof, but he makes a choice. He trusts her. No hesitation after that. He stays with her, keeps her covered while bullets keep flying, both of them stuck with no clear escape. But boom, the girl grabs his arm and throws him away on the ground. His heart just dropped, open fires on him, but he's still confused. With no options left, he just throws his hands up and yells surrender. Because yeah, getting turned into Swiss cheese is not the play here. Hands up, standing there like a hostage in his own story. While the soldiers move in, guns locked on him, one guy signals the others forward like they're wrapping up a mission. And right at that moment, perfect timing, the woman bolts, straight up uses the opening and runs. One of the soldiers shouts to shoot. They fire immediately, and a bullet hits her shoulder. Clean hit. She flinches, grabs it, but doesn't stop, just keeps running through the pain like she already expected this. And that's when it clicks for him. Yeah, he just got used as a distraction. Bro really took a bullet graze while she took the exit route. No time to react though, because now he's surrounded, rifles pointed at his face from every angle. Their leader steps up, starts speaking in English, asks if he understands. He manages a little, and the guy introduces himself as Brian, then asks if he's Kelly's partner. And he's just standing there confused because that's not even the name he heard. Brian clarifies, means the woman who was just with him. That immediately annoys Brian, because now it's obvious she lied about her identity. He denies being her partner, keeps it simple, and Brian asks what story she told him. So he repeats it, and the soldiers just laugh like, yeah, you got played. They straight up say she lied, and that she's the one who betrayed them, claiming one of their people died because of her, so now they're hunting her for revenge. Now he's stuck between two completely opposite stories, both sounding serious, and he has no clue who's telling the truth. Then one soldier calls out they lost her, and walkers are closing in thanks to all that noise. And yeah, great, now zombies are joining the argument. Brian checks the situation, hears there are too many, and decides to move. Before leaving, he warns the MC that sticking with that woman is dangerous, basically saying choose your allies better. Then they start grabbing his stuff, going through his belongings like it's their loot now, and one guy even complains about how heavy the stove is, like bro really judging his inventory. The moment they grab his backpack, he panics, because that's not just a bag, that's everything he's built so far. No hesitation, he shouts that it's his and lunges for it. The soldiers stop, give him that look like you really want to try this, and one of them suddenly asks if the gas weapon he used was stolen from them. That question hits hard, he tenses up instantly, realizing yeah, if they push this he's done, surrounded, outgunned, no way he's winning this fight. He's already thinking worst case, if they keep the bag, he's basically starting from zero again. Brian just stares him down for a moment, serious, calculating, and then out of nowhere hands the backpack back. No drama, just returns it. He takes it immediately, thanks him, and Brian just says good luck, hoping he doesn't use that gear for anything bad. And just like that they leave, disappearing down the street like they were never there. Soon's already going down and he doesn't waste time, ties the stove back to the bike and starts heading out. Not even a minute in, Pain shoots through his arm, reminding him, yeah, you got clipped earlier, don't forget that. He complains under his breath but keeps going, pushing through the snow, exhausted, each step heavier than the last. Checks the map, still 1.5 kilometers to go, and that distance suddenly feels 10 times longer. So he pulls out the repellent, gets ready, opens the system window to check coins, and freezes. 16 coins. He just stands there confused, like where did that even come from? Then he remembers the sniper dropping walkers like a machine, and thinks maybe they were in a party, but checks again, no change in party members. That doesn't add up, and then it hits him. Those coins, they're from somewhere else. His expression drops as he connects it to the horde heading toward the warehouse. And now he's not riding anymore. He's running. He breaks into a full sprint, stove still on his back, and just pushes forward as fast as he can. Tears building up, the guy's already praying he's not too late. Because yeah, his brain finally caught up to reality, and it's screaming you messed up. Meanwhile at the warehouse, things are already going full nightmare mode. A massive horde is literally tearing at the chain gate like it owes them money. And inside, the duo is struggling hard just to keep that thing from snapping. Walkers are squeezing through gaps, hands reaching in like a clearance sale, and the situation is getting ugly fast. She's yelling at the manager to grab the chains and hold it together, and bro is trying, but one of those creatures grabs his arm and yanks him straight toward the opening like, come here real quick. She screams his name as he's getting dragged into that mess, and yeah, at that point even she realizes this is going downhill fast and tells him to get inside because fighting this many is straight up suicide. With the manager injured, she barely manages to slam the gate shut and lock it, and now it's survival mode. Scrap metal in hand, she's ready to throw hands with the apocalypse itself. They move to block the stairs, preparing for round 2, and the manager reminds her walkers can't climb stairs, but ramps? Yeah, those are still a problem. She's already thinking ahead, saying if they funnel them into a tight space, they might actually hold them off, basically turning defense into strategy while chaos is knocking at the door. She tells him to grab a weapon and stop standing there, and he does, but then this guy casually suggests running away. In the middle of all this, perfect timing, genius. She just stares at him like he lost his brain mid-fight, and he even tries convincing her, hand on her leg, like let's just go, and she's not having it at all. Reminds him they promised to protect this place, not abandon it the moment things get rough. He tries to spin it like we're just saving ourselves first, but she shuts it down immediately, saying she's staying right here. Straight eye contact, no hesitation, pick up your weapon or don't talk. She even drops the logic bomb that defending is easier than retaking, which hits him enough to finally shut up and think. After a moment he gets it, grips his weapon and decides yeah, running now would just make everything worse. Then suddenly she hears something and the manager calls her over. They look outside and spot a biker approaching the warehouse. She squints, trying to figure out who it is, and something feels familiar. The biker stops, takes off the helmet in one clean motion, and both of them just freeze. Recognition hits instantly, no words needed. At the same time, the zombies breach the main gate, chains gone, structure done, and yeah, panic mode unlocked. They rushes in with loud roars. She shouts back that the gate's already breached and the walkers are seconds away. He asks where they are, and she tells him they're about to be on them. The only thing saving them right now is that reinforced glass door on the first floor. One walker slams into it, then another, and suddenly the whole horde is there, throwing themselves at the glass like it's the last door on Earth. Inside, they're bracing, weapons up, ready to fight the moment that glass gives up. Outside, it's just non-stop impact, screeching, pounding, chaos building up pressure every second. The protagonist reaches the gate and sees it wide open, chains broken, and that's when it really sinks in. Something went very wrong. His face just drops, pure panic, and he runs inside calling for them, hoping he's not too late. His friends are surrounded, fighting for their lives. She's still holding her ground, swinging that weapon, protecting both herself and the injured manager, breathing heavy, barely holding on but still not backing down. Blood on her weapon, exhaustion all over her face, but she's still standing there ready for the next wave. Blood all over the floor, the kind that says, yeah, this place wasn't peaceful a minute ago. Then after some moments, our guy showed up on the entrance. He saw the scene, but his friends weren't there. Brain lagging for a second like this can't be real. But yeah, it is. Then he notices something important. Their stuff is still there, untouched, meaning they didn't run. That alone snaps him out of it, because now it's not fear, it's urgency, and he dives deeper into the warehouse looking for them, shouting her name, but only getting silence back, which is not helping his mental stability at all. He runs through corridor after corridor, nothing, no walkers, no people, nothing, and now his brain starts going to the worst-case scenario, thinking they got dragged off somewhere. He tries to convince himself they're hiding, because yeah, that's the only option he wants to accept right now. Then suddenly he hears voices, turns instantly, and there they are, alive, holding makeshift weapons like they just finished a boss fight. Relief hits so hard they all just crash into a group hug like yeah, nobody's dead, miracle achieved. Now calm finally kicks in, warm drink in hand, and he listens as they explain what actually happened. Turns out that reinforced glass door was clutch, and she came up with a plan to make a small opening, basically turning defense into controlled chaos. They secured the main gate again with chains, waited for the walkers to come in, and just picked them off one by one through that gap like a budget tower defense game. She even roasts the manager mid-story, saying he was yelling pull the door instead of push, Man was fighting zombies and physics at the same time. Eventually, the pile of dead walkers got so big the others couldn't even reach the gate anymore, so they just locked up and waited until the rest gave up and left. After that, they casually stepped out to grab scrap metal to fix the gate like it was just another Tuesday chore. Now sitting around the fire, vibes finally calm. The protagonist actually gives them credit, because yeah, they held it down. Then he decides it's his turn to flex, grin already spreading because he knows this reveal is about to hit. He pulls out the induction stove, and her eyes go wide instantly. Manager's already thinking about building a generator, like bro switched to engineer mode in 1 second. She praises him, knowing he definitely went through hell to get that thing. He's not done though, got that wait there's more energy, and pulls out the rifle and pistol. Both of them instantly like, where did you even get that? And he's just sitting there ready to tell the story like it's premium content. Says they're gonna lose their minds hearing it, and yeah, they actually do. Listening to everything shocked while he casually says he just got lucky. Sure bro, lucky. Manager then switches topic like a real one, straight to what's for dinner. Priorities finally correct, and the guy smirks again before pulling out chicken. That's it, celebration unlocked. Suddenly it's not apocalypse, it's feast night. They already grabbed food during their scrap run, so now it's full cooking session. Chicken roasting over the fire, fat dripping, flames reacting, smell going crazy, and all three just sitting there suffering from hunger while waiting. They even joke about how the smell is basically torture at this point. Finally, it's ready, golden, juicy, and nobody's waiting for manners. They tear into it immediately. Zero hesitation, survival rules. She's talking with her mouth full, saying it's insanely good. Manager agrees like, yeah, this is 5-star compared to starvation. Meanwhile, he's poking the fire, keeping it alive, because someone has to be responsible here. Manager leans back, completely full, finally at peace for once. The two guys just sit there soaking in the warmth, and she drops that line about how there's something nice about not going to work and just enjoying the moment. Sitting there after stuffing themselves like they haven't seen food in years, the manager casually throws a question, asking if she'd rather go back to the real world or just stay here, and she pauses for a second like her brain buffering, before the protagonist cuts in saying it's obvious she'd go back, and she just laughs and agrees, calling it a dumb question because yeah, nobody choosing zombie simulator over real life on purpose. The manager just stares up at the sky like he's having a philosophical moment, then drops the real problem, no beer. Man really said everything's perfect except that one missing item, priorities undefeated. The protagonist fires back saying if things get too perfect, it gets boring, and she backs him up so they end up making a plan to raid a market or brewery later like it's some side quest. Then the manager switches gears and brings up the biker they saw earlier, and now the mood flips a bit. The MC says their partner actually got a clear look at the biker's face, and the manager immediately turns to her, and she confirms it, but her expression goes serious real quick. She says the biker is someone they know, and that hits like a brick. The protagonist's like, what do you mean? And she starts recalling their internship days, mentioning that weird nepotism situation where an extra person joined and then disappeared halfway through. She admits she can't remember the name properly, and then it clicks for the protagonist, asking if it was Park Minta. That's when her memory locks in, and she confirms it, adding that he's the CEO's son. Now the protagonist stands up trying to process that, and the manager's brain is already jumping to conclusions asking if the guy controlling hordes is really someone from their own company. The protagonist slows it down a bit, saying it might not be that simple, and explains the CEO actually has twin sons who look identical, basically copy-paste humans. He even pulls up a photo showing how hard it is to tell them apart, then drops the details. One of them is a complete mess, known for partying and getting caught with illegal stuff, while the other is a full-on genius, who got a doctorate in the US by 20. That same genius came back, joined the company, and then just disappeared like he unlocked stealth mode. Now the manager leans toward it being the older one, but the protagonist's instincts are pointing at the genius, because yeah, apocalypse and missing prodigy, not a great combo. They both just look at each other thinking the same thing without saying it out loud, like this dude might be behind everything. The manager asks her again if she's sure about the face, and she confirms it confidently. The protagonist immediately tells them to keep this info locked, no sharing, because this is not the kind of thing you casually post online. Then the manager pulls up another post, talking about the West Coast shelter, and they already remember it being suspicious, so they read it properly. Turns out someone leaked photos and exposed the place as a full-on cult, not a shelter. There's even a banner talking about extinction of the world, and the leader is out there giving speeches like he planned all this. The manager explains their whole prophecy basically came true, and now they've taken over the airport, which actually makes sense because infrastructure-wise, it's one of the best places to survive. The protagonist asks if they should look deeper into it, and the manager just gives him that serious look like don't even think about it, and he immediately agrees, deciding staying away from religious groups is the smartest move right now. Manager nods and says he'll just filter useful info and ignore the crazy stuff. Next day, reality hits again. No more chill time, it's repair duty. They step out to fix the gate that got destroyed by the horde, and the protagonist already complaining because yeah, this is not a 5-minute job. They open the gate and get to work. She points out the obvious that there's no shortcut here, and they have to do it quietly, because attracting another horde would be peak stupidity. He starts bending the twisted iron bars back using brute force, basically turning into a one-man workshop, while she helps with a metal plate to push everything back into position. His hands are getting wrecked, bruised, tired, but he keeps going because there's no backup plan. 6 hours later, yeah, 6, they finally finish. She stands up, looks at the result, and says it's basically done and secure again. Then she gives him credit, saying it actually doesn't look bad, which in apocalypse standards means this won't kill us immediately, so honestly solid work. He runs his hand over the repaired gate like a craftsman checking his masterpiece and admits, yeah, not bad, didn't collapse, that's already success in this world. She points out the real upgrade though, now it's a double door system, extra layer of try harder for any walkers outside, and he nods with a smile like yeah, that was actually a smart move. He tells her to get inside before she freezes, and she casually wonders if the manager finally finished his mystery project, because knowing him, it's either genius or completely useless. They step inside and just stop, both of them staring at this shiny exercise bike sitting there like it belongs in a gym, not a zombie apocalypse. The protagonist squints like, is that what I think it is? And the manager proudly confirms, yeah, it's a generator powered by pedaling. Man really said cardio or darkness, choose wisely. He even placed it near the window so whoever's suffering on it can still keep watch, multitasking pain and survival at the same time. The protagonist asks for the simple version, and the manager suddenly looks a bit awkward, already knowing this explanation is about to hurt. He admits the efficiency is terrible, and yeah, both of them immediately get concerned. She asks how bad, and he drops the truth. 1 hour of pedaling gives you 15 minutes of heater. That's it. The protagonist's soul just leaves his body for a second like, I did not sign up for this workout. Manager gets defensive instantly, saying he did what he could with the scraps. And to be fair, yeah, bro built electricity out of junk. She actually backs him up, saying it's still amazing because they're not dependent on sunlight anymore, and that alone is a huge upgrade. The protagonist praises him too, saying now they at least have stable power, even if it comes with suffering included. Then he pulls the manager into a hug, joking around, and the manager flexes back saying he's not just good with his hands. And now the protagonist's like, great, now I'm gonna make you build everything. And both of them laugh because yeah, he definitely just signed up for more work. Night comes, they all finally sleep peacefully for once, snow falling outside like the world isn't completely broken. Then quietly, a system window pops up above the woman, like something's about to change again. Meanwhile, the protagonist lying there opens the system shop, now actually thinking ahead for defense. He's got coins, so he buys the search tool, trying to find something useful. First search, equipment to stop intruders. Nothing. Second, weapons and repair. Also nothing. Now he's getting annoyed because this system is acting like a scam. Then he tries GPS tracker, and suddenly boom, results appear. Now he's interested. It's a location tracker, lasts 24 hours, costs 7 coins, and his eyes light up because now he's thinking strategically, tracking dangerous targets instead of guessing. Right when he's getting into it, noise. Immediate alert mode. He sits up, pistol already in hand, and the manager bursts in yelling for him to wake up because something's off. No chill. Straight to action. He grabs his rifle and moves to the window, and both of them look outside, 2 figures approaching the warehouse. Yeah, timing couldn't be worse. Inside, tension builds instantly. She's holding the pistol but admits she's never actually fired one before, and it shows. He stays calm, tells her it's just a gas weapon, nothing complicated, point and shoot, don't panic. He even shows her how to hold it properly, prepping her like a crash course before an exam she didn't sign up for. She's clearly scared, but he keeps it steady, telling her not to fire unless things go wrong. He sets the plan quickly, tells her to watch the manager for signals so they can coordinate, and she nods seriously. Locked in now. Everyone in position, eyes on the target waiting, and then, as the figures get closer, he finally sees them properly. Not a group, not armed soldiers, just one adult, and a small child. Now even he's confused like, what kind of situation just walked up to their door?